open for potentially a third. So I liked it.
Well, we have a new one coming. It's with the twins, his daughters.
Blazkowicz?
Yeah, Blazkowicz's kids. Yeah, he had 2 twins. It's a multiplayer Wolfenstein game.
What?
You don't know about this shit?
Oh, hell yeah!
Swallow my mic.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 62 of the Thought Patrol podcast. Now, I have an announcement for everyone tuning in. Our boy, Big Dick Tyler, has returned.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Good to be back. I'm glad it's episode 69.
Is that... It's 62, but is that...
I know. That's the goal.
Okay.
69.
Okay. Yeah, everyone's... You know what we got to do? We have to get everyone back for episode 69. We'll have 10 people on the podcast.
It'll be like episode 69. Nothing happened.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. We all talked about...
Just a whole lot of...
Yeah, dude. That'll be epic.
That's literally gonna
like
be
the old days.
It's gonna be a short episode.
Dude, I've gone back and watched or listened to our older episodes, and man, were they a fucking shit show. Not that the ones that we have now are any better, but like the Persona 5 episode when we did that one, where everyone was huddled around one mic and it sounded god awful.
Good times though.
Good times though. Yeah, it's fun to go back and listen to them.
It sounded bad. But I like the way the show worked. I think I have fonder memories of that than recent. I like the recent episodes, but I enjoyed those. I think it's had more.
A lot of that was
more
just
the old schoolers.
Yeah, it's just because we had more people, and everyone just fucked off to go do their own thing, and now it's pretty much just me and Shawn every week, and then sometimes Caitlyn is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of it was just because we don't have the people now. We don't have the manpower.
Yeah.
And that it's a lot of it's just me and Grumpy Kyle, Grumpy Shawn, and then Grumpy Sam every once in a while all talking to each other. But I
don't know if we can apply Grump to Sam, dude.
Yeah,
Sam is the beacon of positive energy.
Yeah, I don't know.
My Little Pony kid. I mean, not that you're My Little Pony, Sam. I'm just saying.
I'm not a brony, sorry.
No. Not that we have anything against you being a brony. As long as you don't want to go around.
Okay, if you're a brony, no
judgment.
67, 68, 69. God damn it!
What's going on?
I work. Well, if we progress and do the next sequential Sundays, it shall land on October 7th, and I work that Sunday.
What we could do? Do you work?
The question is, when you're working, can you put your phone in your pocket, wear headphones, and talk on Discord while you're working?
Do you?
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like doing CPR on someone.
Yo, live from the streets with Tyler. He's like actively fighting a fire.
Right.
Well, actually, what we can do is we can just find a day that works. We can do a Saturday night instead, or something else, or wait till a Monday. I don't know, and then do something that way.
What you should do, Antonio Kyle, is like hold off until the 6th month of next year, and on the 9th day. So no podcasts until then. At least not until the 69th.
Cool.
Podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone in the
perfect.
Everyone in the community will love that. All right, guys, we're going ghost.
Or you do 66, 67, 68, skip 69, go 70,
no, I'm sorry.
71, 70.
No, we have traditions with October to December being like some of the best months of the entire year. We have traditions, dude. We have fucking 31 days with the Thought Patrol podcast in December, where we watch holiday movies and talk about them.
Most of Halloween movies in December.
And then in October we do like 3 episodes fucking dedicated to talking about just Halloween, because I love those two.
Hell yeah.
We have to do something special for Halloween this year.
Scary games.
Yeah.
Well, I do scary games every fucking Friday. But what we can do is I don't know, with the stream schedule.
We can review horror movies. We can pick streaming horror movies, like stuff that's we do, like Prime.
There's no
Hulu, etc.
Okay. I thought you meant like stream watching a horror movie.
No, we can get on, watch a horror movie together,
all quick at the same time.
Talk about it afterwards. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of I mean, dude, every YouTuber that does the whole movie thing during Halloween, they all rack up the views.
Oh yeah.
So it's a good way to exploit the holiday.
Yeah, dude. Commercials.
What we should do is watch like a really good like Halloween movie and then like a really bad one.
Just go on Netflix.
I agree.
You could find a
think that's
bunch
brilliant.
of really bad Halloween movies.
Yeah, and I've seen thousands
Like
of horror movies, so I can help.
All
Well,
right.
sorry guys, I'm gonna be sick that day, so you're gonna have to
No,
without
no,
me.
Sam, no sick cards. You watch it with us. It's bonding time.
Oh yeah.
Listen. All right.
I can think of some good Korean ones that'll fuck Sam. I mean, Sam will love.
All right, guys. So I appreciate you all being here with me tonight as we go through this podcast. We're going to be talking about Quakecon tonight, boys, ladies and gents. We're going to be talking about that. Some of the announcement that they've released. We also have some good news to talk about. Some redemption has happened in the community. I'm talking about the Spyro remaster. We'll talk about that when we get there. And so first, before we move into anything else, we're going to get into the intros. I want to see how all of your weeks have been. We're going to go across the table. We will first start with Shawn, so I don't forget him like I always do. Hit me, Shawn.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I have missed you.
Oh. Shawn, words can't describe my admiration to your persona, but again, Bloodborne. it's been pretty sad. Anyways, how was your week, Shawn? Or how's your past few weeks been? We haven't talked.
I haven't talked to you in a while. The week's been okay. I've been working on putting out applications for new jobs, which is a nightmare and a half. So I've been trying so that I don't stress out. We've got, I think, 2 or 3 new reviews on the Streaming Geek since last Sunday. Or discussions. We got one for Moonphase, one for Future Diary, and one for that movie Extinction with Michael Pena and Lizzie Kaplan that dropped on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing Battle Chasers, which was referred to me by an awesome member of the Thought Patrol community, and I've been enjoying the shit out of it. Based off a comic book that came out in the 90s, I believe. But it's good. The artwork in it's pretty stunning.
It sounds
so beautiful.
Familiar.
It's called Battle Chasers, and then like something War. Night War.
I'm thinking of The Closers. That's something else. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I actually I was playing it right before we started. It's a lot of fun, and when you get deeper into the game, the strategy, like how changes how they function, and you have, I believe, 6 by the end of the game. And it seems like when I was reading up in some of the Battle Chasers communities, a lot of people just end up maining like 3 and fuck off with the rest, which means I'm gonna have double the amount of grind going on because I can't do that. That would be impossible. But otherwise, things have been all right. I got psyched when I saw the new Doom trailer. Pretty excited about that. And I've been paying. I made another payment on like my 60,000 different pre-orders,
Nice.
and it seems like that I have joined the camp of completely insane, just mentally ill people because I switched a pre-order to the $399 Darksiders 3.
Jesus
That comes with
Christ.
4 statues.
It's more expensive.
I've been making like install. It's like it's like a PlayStation 4 Pro. I know.
Yeah, dude.
It's ridiculous.
I'm just thinking about it. Like that's ridiculous.
Holy fuck! I said it was.
What's it come with?
I haven't committed myself to following through on it yet. I can switch it out or get the money back at any time.
It better come with It better come with like a slave that rubs your back while you play the game or some shit with that price.
It comes with like a leather-bound art book, 4 2-foot-tall statues that are highly detailed, done by the guy who did the artwork for all the games, the cover artwork, since he's a famous artist. He sculpted the statues. There's like a lot of good shit. Comes with a soundtrack, a bunch of digital extras, and good stuff.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for me, I think.
Good to hear. I'm glad you're with me tonight in this sensual Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening.
Oh, yeah.
What about you, Tyler? We haven't heard from you in a while. Get us up to date.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's gonna be a week's worth of stuff, but I'll try to cram it all in. Well, I've work's been good. Same old, just fighting fires and having fun. I've been playing a lot of games lately, actually, so that's pretty nice to get to contribute something to the podcast. Like I was saying, I have like a list, honestly. So Antonio and I, we kind of do like a buddy up thing. We'll pick a game, and like it'll be anything that's like co-op, so we can just kind of play and hang out, shoot the shit, enjoy a nice game. Or it doesn't have to be a good game either. It's like a lot of times it'll be whatever free games on in the month. Like at least one of them will be co-op, so we'll play and just have a good time. So one of those was Dead Space 3, which actually we had bought a month prior to, and in this month they actually made it for free. So that was pretty funny. But they had a deal on it, so like it was on sale. So yeah, I played that. Dead Space 3 was fun, just playing with somebody. I don't think I would ever played the game if it wasn't, if I wasn't playing with somebody. I'd played the first two in the past. The first one was excellent. It slowly started getting less of a horror, and I love it too. Like I'd actually would want to see a fourth one just because of the fact that it kind of resparked my interest because it's been so long since I've kind of been in that. Playing that universe, but like I was saying,
did you get into the whole mythology, like the comic books and stuff?
No, I watched some of like the movies, but those all were kind of like meh. Actually, I think there was a comic I read. Like I don't know. I picked it up somewhere, and it was like a come and go kind of thing, and that was it. Like it was like during the interest when I think I just started playing. I was probably playing the second one. I want to say, but yeah, the third one's a lot more actiony, less of the horror construct. It's a lot more of an open world where you and your partner go, and it's a much larger story than how it was in the first one. It was just you isolated on a ship trying to figure out what the fuck happened, find your girlfriend. Spoiler, she's dead. Oops. And it kind of carried into the sequel, and he's kind of just still freaking out from shit. And then one thing I loved was when you play co-op in that game, there's things that you can see that your partner doesn't see. So all of a sudden, I start freaking out in this one part of the game where I'm like, there's like nutcrackers, and it's like you're playing as the other character in the game. So the other guy, I can't remember his name, but not Isaac. So he's like
the soldier from the second one.
Yeah, so he's like
the guy who ran the base, I think, right?
I think so. I can't recall, but I mean, he was just that other. He was like the tough Marine dude. It was like, let's do the mission, or like, and what you say or what I say goes. Like, you follow my lead, and then, but like, yeah, he would see shit because of he had like some family disaster or whatever. You would see shit, and like all of a sudden, it was like, I guess it was Christmas time, so you start seeing like presents and nutcrackers everywhere, and I'm like, dude, do you see all this shit everywhere? There's fucking presents and like children scream like laughter, and he's like. Tony's like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're like, there's nothing in this room. I'm like, what do you mean? I sent him a snap of it, and he's like, that's not on my screen. I'm not seeing any of this. And that was just kind of one of the side quests. So I thought that was cool. That was like that interaction where only I could see it, but obviously I'm talking about it. So he's like, wow, that's that is interesting. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. We also played Resident Evil 5, which I mean, I'm not too familiar with the Resident Evil series. I kind of played here and there of like the previous ones, some of the arcade games. And then, I think I was with you, Kyle, and I think I played the demo for Biohazard with you. That was fun. I mean, I know it's a completely different game than how the previous ones were. I definitely would say I would definitely go. It sparked my interest. I would definitely go and play probably some of the older ones and then play the new one.
Dude, 7? Well, first, if they have a remaster of the original, that was really good.
Yeah,
just original Resident
Evil. They had a bunch on sale.
Yeah, dude, and 7 it holds true to the spirit of Resident Evil. Like, you're doing what you do in every other Resident Evil game, but it's in first person. But that game is fucking fantastic. It is a very good game. One of it's up there with my in my top horror games that I've played. It is really fucking good. But yeah, if you haven't played 4, you got to play 4 too, because that one's awesome as well. But I definitely recommend the original Resident Evil 4. They had like these ones, because they've had some that kind of branch off from the main line of games. Like, they have one that's also cooperative. I forget what it's called. I think it's Revelations that you can play. where it's also co-op where you're one of you is like the combat and the other one has like the flashlight and you're walking around doing shit together, which is pretty cool. I know 5 was...
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, 5 is very action-oriented.
Yeah.
The original one has more of a horror tinge, but is also action-oriented. And then 7 has more of a horror tinge, but eventually moves into more of an action-oriented. But I like those. I like the ones that have the horror tinge to them, besides like the plain old action. That's why a lot of the community didn't like 6. So a lot of people didn't really like 5 either. But it
5
was,
or 6.
that was kind of like
the co-op games.
It was kind of new at that point, so the community was okay with it to a point. And then when they started doing more of it, they're like, "Man, we need to fucking stop this direction we're heading."
Like it was alright for a fan like me that didn't know too much about the series. Like going into it, it was it was okay. Like I never had any serious issues with it. It was just a fun game to play with a buddy, pretty much, and like kind of delve into whatever world that was already, much of it has already been created. So you're kind of I was just thrown into it. Like I had watched a bunch of the movies before, but like I was never like a huge, nerd, I guess you can term it. So, like I enjoyed it for what it was, but yeah, like I said, I definitely would like to play the other ones to kind of get like what fans really enjoy from like what made the series so important. Like it's definitely relative whenever you talk about like a horror series. Resident Evil is definitely one of those names to get thrown in there in conversation. But
Resident Evil helped. I mean, it was the game that popularized survival horror. I mean, you had some ish before that, but they never mastered the balance to the point where they coined an entire genre after it.
Yeah.
And 5 I enjoyed the shit out of 5 and 6. I liked them both, but the campaigns in like 6, I got what they were trying to do, like give you like the 3 different styles of Resident Evil that have been created. You had the original style.
Oh Jesus!
It's been slowly paced, which was Leon's campaign, and then Chris's campaign was a full-blown action fest, and that was still fun. There just wasn't enough set pieces to make it solid. And then you had the one that was based off of the third one, which was when Jill was escaping the mansion, and in that one it wasn't slow. It wasn't slow. Nemesis. And in that one, you were constantly being chased. So if you stood in any area for too long, or investigated an area too long, the Nemesis would break through a fucking wall and wreck your shit. And so they tried doing kind of all 3, and the balance didn't feel right. But you did kind of get 3 games in one, which was nice. I only understand the audience's vitriol to a certain amount with those games, because they were still good games. They were still good Resident Evil, and you couldn't keep trapping people in a house and repeating the same thing.
I'm thinking
it was just the natural evolution. They had to take in a new direction.
And
I thought they worked. I just think they needed better writing.
I was thinking for these games, not to interrupt you, but to add to this real quick, you think it might have been because as we moved forward down, they added a lot. And they were trying to expand the story, but I think what might have happened is maybe they got... Because 4 was good, but it was campy. But it was good campy, right? Like, it didn't really ever take itself too seriously. It was kind of, like, ridiculous all the time. Do you think maybe as they continued on to, like, 5 and 6, it tried to get too serious with the way they told the story? And that's maybe why the community started to dislike them?
I think they got back to the roots with the story they were telling. The way they were telling the story, or I should say what the story actually was, not the way they were telling it, was on point. Like, it got deeper, you got these different layers, but I think instead of making gradual steps forward, like in every game, make sure you're retaining certain qualities and then add in the new stuff like they did with all of the Final Fantasies up to, 13, when they really kind of did that final hallway thing.
Dude, I want to play...
They always retained specific elements, but then evolved things. And I think Capcom might have tried to move too fast. Or maybe they had some new guys come in who thought they could revamp the series. I'm not sure. Because there was a lot of elements. Like, if you played the two that were sequels that came out in between... was it 5 and 7? There was
that Revelations?
Yeah, Revelations.
Yeah.
The Revelation ones were good.
Yeah, I enjoyed
them. But they
did
nothing new. all the Revelations ones did was harken back to the old school Resident Evil and just use tiny bits of the new ones. If they had taken steps forward like that, if you had 4 and 4 incorporated more enemies and much more tense combat, and then you bring in like also larger enemies, and then you bring in 5, and if 5 had incorporated a little bit, just a little bit more, and maybe broadened the scope a bit or something. And I think they also started making the story a little fuzzy. There were certain things that you wouldn't know unless you wandered into certain areas. And with Resident Evil, you really want to give the player all of the story. Maybe you could hide a few cutscenes, like the one where you find out Wesker's dead in the first one. You could miss that. The first clone of Wesker dies in the first game. I think a troll killed him, if I remember correctly. But I don't know that they could have avoided it a lot, because gamers don't like it when things change. You look at Mario, the most successful Marios, the ones that they actually make a massive amount of profit off of, are all the side-scrolling Marios, like the Wii U one, the Wii one, and the previous ones. Any of the ones where they experiment and go into the 3D exploration that you and I like so much, those sell well, but they don't sell nearly as much as the fucking Wii copy. And I mean, how much work really went into that one compared to Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine or the new one where he throws his hat like a frisbee?
Well,
hey, you shut your whore
to
mouth
be
about
honest,
Mario Sunshine.
Odyssey sold incredibly.
I love Sunshine.
Oh yeah, no, they're all good. Odyssey sold incredibly well, but I think we also have to keep in mind the success of the console that the game's based on.
Right.
If the Wii one sold incredibly well, there were so many Wiis that sold. You got to keep in mind that that's part of that, and a lot of those Wiis actually came with they had bundles that came with the Mario game.
Was Odyssey one of the launch titles, or like it was?
No.
Odyssey, no. Odyssey came after, a while after Switch. But
I think it was like
June after it was released. Or something
but Odyssey sold incredibly well. But if you look at how well the Switch did incredibly well. And when people think Nintendo, what do they think? They think Mario. So I think that has to do with that.
Make them gradual.
Yeah,
for gamers to
I
accept
agree.
It.
All right. We really started. So that was 2 games of like the 5 or 6 more I have. So just quick. How my week
Jesus!
has been.
Keep going, Tyler.
No. We're not gonna tantrum this. That's all right. We're tangent this. So, what I said, Dead Space 3, Resident Evil 5, Outlast 2, which I remember you asked me about what I was gonna think, like what my thoughts were afterwards. Really fucked up game compared to the first one. I liked it. Not as much. Like I had a few issues with it compared to the first one. I actually didn't really like the whole school cuts, the school scenes.
A lot of
I
people
kind of feel
didn't.
like it's stranded like away from the main storyline. Although I got like what it was trying to do with the whole flashbacks and stuff like that, but like there really wasn't much to go off of. It was just kind of, I don't know, like they were trying to like throw something unnecessary in there to kind of give you more of like a shock factor. Which I mean. If the story was that itself, if they could have changed it around, if it was in the school instead of, I thought if they kept it to almost the same story where it's it's inside of a big building. So instead of, the asylum, it was inside a giant school. But there's not really much you can do because it's a school and there's children, and I don't really want children to get involved in that sort of thing. That kind of, it kind of makes me not enjoy the game as much. But anyways, so I liked it. Actually, I remember now, about halfway through the game, I felt like it was dragging on for a long time. And then probably the last, quarter of the game or so really picked back up. Like when he finally got to the mountain, and there was the whole mountain experience in there when you're in like the mine. That was, from that to the end game, was really good. I like it brought back the tightness, the claustrophobic, dark. You got to hear to see what's going on. That sort of thing. What else?
What do you think about the ending?
Weird. I was kind of like, okay, whatever. I mean, honestly, I was actually, part of me was glad I finished the game just so I can be over with it and play the next game. Like I said, I mean, I don't know. I was like, okay, interesting. So let's see if they do anything, if they make a third one. I don't know, or like a DLC, because I don't think they ever made a DLC for the second one.
A lot of people felt the plot kind of jumped shark from the first game.
Yeah,
It's a completely different. It's a completely different story. It's not related at all to the first. But yeah, I think I agree with what you were saying with the awe. If there's a lot of it is they were stretching to get a reaction out of you with what they were showing you, almost like they were trying to be edgy.
It was cheap
and shit.
But it was cheap and edgy. Like they
So
didn't want
his wife was dead, right?
No,
she was still alive.
Yeah.
Then she gave
birth,
and then died right after birth.
Mm-hmm.
She gave birth to, I guess, I don't know if it was the Antichrist or not. If that was the child, the child was. I was expecting if it was the child was going to come out normal, and then like I was hoping, if it was going around the story, like how the story was going, child would be born, and then like the father would, the protagonist, the main character you play as, he would, pick the baby up, like look at it, oh, it's all cute and stuff, and then it just fucking like snaps his neck or something like that, or like I don't know, just something. That's what they should have done, but they didn't. Instead he walked out, and then the whole fucking apocalypse happened or some shit like that, and I was like, okay, end credits. I played the next game. Like I kind of just moved on. I didn't want to ponder too much about it. I got what I wanted out of it, and that was it.
Outlast always felt to me like a super polished version of your typical indie horror game,
because it got super popular. I mean, the first one was good. I think the camera is what kind of made it for the game. I mean, they kind of did previous horror games like that with objects. If like there's that one Japanese game where you use like your phone, like use the flash or something like that.
Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame was like that.
And that was, I'm gonna say that was before Outlast.
It was.
The objects, and also like not just phones, but also flashlights, things like that. I like that. I think that was they kind of gave it, and the way how they did it gave it more of a twist on it, where it became, essential, but also not really. There's times I couldn't find myself actually using the camera or not in the game, obviously for the flash and some of the darker scenes, or the not the flash, but the night mode on it. But I like the first one better. I would say the graphics. It was a beautiful game too. I will say that, and the new follower, instead of the big dude, I forgot his name from the first one, but there's always that follower in the game, and this one was like that witch. She was pretty creepy, I thought. I wish there was a little bit more of her, but I did enjoy her, like with the chases with her. I
like how she cut your gooch in half. That's pretty cool.
I don't want. Again, it's very gory game too. They stepped it up in that, but again, without a good story, it's like you aren't drawn to it as much. You don't get as much. I didn't get as like the fulfillment I wanted out of the game, but I played it. There was parts I liked, parts I didn't. So, next, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, great game. As I talked about before, and like when I first started getting into the new ones, so Wolfenstein, the New Blood, and what was the other one? The kind of like the 1.5 or like the expand, like the DLC. Which one was that? Or was that the Old Blood or something like that? No, it was the New Order, and then the Old Blood was.
Yeah,
was
the
like
Old Blood was like it was kind of like an ode to like the older.
Yeah, and the New Order was like the reboot.
Well, it was like its own separate game. It had physical copies, and it was released. It wasn't as long, and it took place. It was like a prequel, kind of. Yeah,
that was an expansion to the original one. They used the same engine. It was a DLC, and then they released it separately.
Oh, okay.
And is that the one you're talking about? The New Blood.
The New Blood was the revamped of the series, and then like shortly after they
the New Order is the revamp. The Old Blood was the expansion, and then the second one's called the New Colossus or something like that.
New Colossus, right? Yeah. And then they left it open for potentially a third. So I like.
Well, we have a new one coming. It's with the twins, his daughters.
Blazkowicz?
Yeah, Blazkowicz's kids. Yeah, he had two twins. What? It's a multiplayer Wolfenstein game.
What?
You don't know about this shit?
Oh, hell yeah!
Swallow my mic. Dude, that's amazing.
How'd you not know about this? They showed it off at EA.
No,
or E3. EA.
No, I don't think I saw I don't think I saw that in the conference. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 100%. They showed it off during Bethesda's E3. Young
That's
Blood.
awesome.
It's coming in 2019. Stars BJ's twin daughters. It's a co-op Wolfenstein game.
That's gonna be freaking awesome. I keep telling people about this game. It's like nothing better than just fucking listening to like awesome ass music. I mean, it's like just like how Doom is too. It's like awesome music, run and gun, but like you're fucking just blasting Nazis in the face. Says some cool fucking like Arnold Schwarzenegger like one-liner, and just keep on going, and like just blood and guts everywhere. Fucking badass. Like
it's fantastic. Bethesda has like
and the story is great.
Bethesda has like become.
The gameplay.
Oh my god, Tyler! Bethesda.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Bethesda's become like they're like the Blizzard of single-player games, where they release like super quality, like awesome, fantastic, high production value games. But they pretty much directly like, what's the word I'm trying to say? Whatever, they adhere to the single player market, like with fucking the Dishonored games, with the with Wolfenstein, with Doom. All these games, they're so fucking quality. Like if you went to Bethesda,
they're so fucking quality.
Yeah, dude. Like if they just gave you all of Bethesda's games to play, like they define so many different genres of single player like experiences that are all fantastic. They're all fucking amazing. And it's like they're quickly becoming one of these companies like, hey, if you haven't played all of Bethesda's games, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Get on that shit. They're like becoming like to that degree, like if you haven't played all of Blizzard's games, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Get on that shit. The same thing along those lines. They're fucking awesome. I love Bethesda. They make fantastic games.
They're doing pretty good. I mean, it's definitely worth the buy and the time. So after Wolfenstein, I started playing Shadow of Mordor, the Middle Earth series. I played the first one. Huge Lord of the Rings fan. So I've heard issues about this game. I know it's bigger than the previous. Like I'm not sure if it's going to be like what made the first game so special sort of issue, or I'm not sure. I heard there was a lot of issues with
From what I heard with the game,
it wasn't loot crates or something. It was like pay to play or something.
Yeah, they had microtransactions. They dialed them. They dialed them back, and now they're at the point where they've been completely removed from the game. And they did a sale once they did that to kind of reintroduce it to the community, try and
reinvest.
Yeah, try and generate hype for the game.
I think that's probably when I bought it.
They also made it because they had one big issue was when you got to near the end of the game to get like the true ending, there was a ridiculous grind that it was locked behind. Like you would have to grind something like 40, 50, 60 hours of doing the meta game in the game, like the castle siege mode, just to get the true ending. And they've also listened and they've dialed that back as well, trying to make the game a little bit better in those. It's good that they're listening to their community though. Like they're slowly taking steps to kind of remove those things and reintroduce it to the community, so people will actually enjoy it more than what they were doing before. But I heard that the game itself overall was good. It's just that it had a couple issues that made it shitty and that plagued it. But they have been slowly fixing those problems.
Yeah, so I barely put any time in that. That was just the next game, and then after that too, because when they had their, I think it was a summer sale. Is what it was. So I bought a bunch of those games like I said. Doom is the next game I'll be playing, just in time for the new one too. So it's kind of good timing. And then whenever I hop back onto Bloodborne, we'll see what happens there. So that's it for the games. And then just quickly for the movies, I saw Ready Player One finally not too long ago. It was good. It was one of those Easter egg movies. Pretty much that's the best way to label it. I kind of just like, oh yeah, I caught that, or I didn't catch that. Let me rewind this and see what this was. Like, you could probably find a website somewhere that has a list of all the Easter egg references and like the references within references.
Dude,
not a terrible movie.
Tell me, you did not.
Some people
did not ejaculate your pants when you saw a fucking Gundam fighting Mechagodzilla? Like, come on, dude. Yeah, I might have fucking rocketed out of the theater with the amount of cum that was spraying from my pants. That had me so hyped.
I saw it. I mean, I didn't see it in the theaters. I saw it. I got it out of the red box. So I mean, just kind of finally sat down and watched that. Saw what the hype was about. I remember hearing like it wasn't all that like before it came out. It was supposed to be like a really great movie. Steven Spielberg film, he's gonna do it right, he's gonna do right by this, and I guess it just turned out to be just another cash grab.
I know that it didn't do well, and as well as they expected in the box offices.
It was 10 and 6.
But
so I'll be getting up at 8. Oh, come on, Zim. Sorry, guys. We got interrupted in the podcast. My bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's all good.
It's nothing. Hey, dude, it wouldn't be the first time. We're good. We're all fine here.
So, that was that one, and then like I was saying, Princess Mononoke from Studio Ghibli. 1997. I was only 2 years old when it came out. Did a little bit of research after I watched the movie. My sister actually, because my sister and I, that's our bonding time whenever we go and hang out. Because we don't see each other that often. Oh my god! What the hell was that? Yeah, that was pretty much my reaction when I saw the movie. Great, another great Studio Ghibli film. I love just the story, the universe, the character development. I always get left with wanting more when I see those movies because it's so beautifully put together. And it kind of reminded me. I would definitely say it's one of the more violent. It's probably the most violent of Hayao Miyazaki's films that he's made that I've at least seen so far.
I'm wondering because that you've seen, because Nausicaa in the Valley of the Winds is kind of violent too. Not super violent.
It is too. No, it is. But this is like
Proto Ghibli.
Yeah, it was right before they. Yeah, so Princess Mononoke is an established Ghibli film. I know. I don't think it was it had an R rating though. If I remember correctly. My sister went out and bought it. She saw it, and we share like a love for watching Ghibli films. So it was just another one for us to watch, and I was blown away. I wasn't sure what to expect. It reminded me a lot of Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind. It kind of had that similar artwork and style. Probably bumped a little bit more, dialed a little bit more up into some of the actions. Mm-hmm. It deals with a lot of issues of war and multiple sides and who's the right side and stuff like that. Everyone's trying to it's all for protecting yourselves and betterment of as a society. But if one side prospers, the other kind of gets fucked, sort of like that. So it made I feel like
critical analysis by Tyler. If one side prospers, the other one gets fucked.
I mean, essentially, that's exactly what it is. Go watch the movie. I definitely recommend it. It's actually a little. It's very, very kind of not disturbing, but spooky or scary at times too. If I was a kid trying to watch that for the first time, I would probably have nightmares. But I mean, that stuff still interests me. I mean, I fucking saw Alien and Aliens when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. So, and I loved that stuff, but I fucking had nightmares. But I still always got drawn back to watching it. So I mean, it's just how the story is driven. I mean, I really kept finding myself just indulged in it. So I was really hoping like I said before the podcast, he doesn't. Hayao Miyazaki doesn't make sequels, so I mean, it'd be cool if they would have, but I mean, I feel like it'd probably take away of the story in itself. So, yeah. That's been pretty much my life the past couple months, not week.
That's
but that's just how I am because I'm special because I'm not on here every week.
Dude, when we went to Epcot, we went to the Japan section. We were going through the store. I was so close. I was kind of on a budget at that time, but I had to pick because they had a bunch of books that were basically full on guides to the way that they created the world and the story and the art behind each movie. And I was stuck between Mononoke and Spirited Away. I couldn't think of the name for some reason.
You told me about that. You showed me artwork.
Yeah, and it's so cool because they even go into the technical end of the movies. They'll show you how they did it, not only drawing but the 3D effects added on top to the movies as well. And it's just such an awesome read and stuff to look through. It is such a cool book. The book itself was $30 something though, so I could only get one because I was buying other shit at the time. But they had one for every single Ghibli movie, all of them. It was so fucking cool, and I wanted to buy them all, but that would have ran me a lot of money. But that would have been a cool little thing to have. Eventually, I do plan on getting because they've done it every like couple like anniversaries. They release like these collector's editions of all the boxes, but they're mad expensive. I would love to get. I'd love to get one of those. Set
of all like Ghibli films.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Like pre-Ghibli, or all like how Miyazaki used to, because there are some pre-Ghibli films I like to get to.
Yeah, they do those every, like they had one, I don't remember what anniversary it was for, but they were all silver and they were embossed. But like the whole set, I think ran, I don't know, like I think around like $500-600 for the whole set. But they were all really nice looking. But it's just not the type of money I have to spend at this point in time in my life. All right, so I'm glad you're good. Sam, are you good to talk about your week? Because I've seen here you've been having issues.
Finally, I am.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry, Sam.
No, it's not that. It's just my living situation. I don't have a lot of like privacy, so I had to like, in respect to the recording process, I made sure to mute so they wouldn't be disturbed by anything.
Told everyone to fuck off.
Yeah, he masturbated twice between Shawn and I as a...
week's been good. Oh, yeah. So I've left my job at the restaurant. Just wasn't my deal. I mean, the people were great, but it just wasn't my speed. So gonna be looking for something this week. I got a few prospects, so hopefully that'll go well. Let's see. I've been playing quite a few games. Mainly, I got Fallout 4 on a sale because I wanted the game back and I wanted to play it again in hopes of getting me hyped for Fallout 76. I don't know if I'll still get it because my internet situation is also terrible. So there's probably no need to get it. So I'll probably just play Fallout 4 while everyone's playing Fallout 76.
Oof.
Yeah.
Saddest thing.
And then I been playing some more Into the Gungeon, just trying to grind through that. I played Breath of the Wild for the first time in a long time. I never beat it on Wii U, but then I got the Switch version. I never went back to it, so today I went back to it, and I think I'm gonna play that for a while. Let's see. I started watching the new cartoon animated show Disenchanted. It's the creator of Futurama and Simpsons. I started watching that today. It's pretty good so far. Yeah, I didn't know his name exactly, so I didn't want to screw it up. Started watching that. It was pretty good. And then I had an interesting Saturday. I was supposed to play in a tournament for disc golf, but apparently we got there too late and I wasn't able to enter. So me and my dad just decided to go play somewhere else, and I had a great time. Went to the mall, hung out, so that was a great day. And then I got to see a friend I hadn't seen in a while. I went to my first bar. Actually went to a bar and got a drink with a friend. That was the first time I've ever done that. That was pretty cool. And,
I remember my first beer.
I mean, I've had a drink before, but anyway. Let's see. And then I've been playing The Surge.
Okay, wait, Sam, real quick. My dog's a cunt, and I had to let him into the room, so I was muted. I didn't hear. Now, when you went to this bar, did you mention what you had? Because I want to know.
Yeah, I had a cider and a Mexican lager.
Ooh,
I can't remember the names, but they were pretty good. And also too, they make the bar also makes. They have a pizza bar where they make flatbread pizzas, and I had a chicken sriracha pizza. It was good. It was so good.
That sounds fucking amazing right
now. Good. And that's the only food they have. All they have is flatbread pizzas and beer.
Dude, what's this place called?
It's called the Peak Tap Room. It's on Topsail Island in North Carolina. It's really nice.
Yeah, that sounds good, dude.
Got the fly out.
Really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. But I got to reconnect with a friend, and actually, we're actually going to be talking about starting a podcast this fall together.
Oh, nice.
So,
another one bites the dust.
Oh, there goes Sam. I'll never see him again.
Yeah. Sam, you said you quit the restaurant. What restaurant did you work at prior?
I worked at a Italian place here where I'm at now. Just wanted to
were you like a server?
No, I was actually in the kitchen. I worked on the line, making sandwiches and pasta dishes and stuff.
That's a rough fucking job.
It is. Just
yeah,
shit.
It's
and then like
you
get out of the kitchen, like you're probably all like hot and all like greased up and stuff.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah,
and I enjoyed it for a little while, but then it just got really difficult. But the owner was really awesome. He was really cool. He totally understood. So, but I'm still gonna go probably visit and stay in touch because the people and the environment was great. I won't ever do that, but or rag on that. But anyway,
I wonder what the turnover rate is for those jobs.
It's
probably pretty high.
It's pretty high, especially during the summer months. Because of how busy it is.
Yeah.
I know during the fall and stuff, I think you have longer retention, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, I've had a pretty decent week. The next week's going to be interesting about looking for a job, but again, I have some prospects, so I'm not too worried.
Are you staying in the food business or?
No. I'm going back to what I used to do. I'm trying to get back on with Lowe's as a stalker. So, just going to do that. And my training's going pretty well. I'm going to start upping the ante in the next couple of months because I want to hit my weight for the Air Force by spring. So I'm going to be doing a lot of more what I'm doing now. And I got to lock down on my diet. I've been a little shaky on it, but going forward, it's going to get pretty tight. So
yeah.
It's going to be rough, but I know it's going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah, definitely.
So
diet's the most one of the like you could go out and run every other day, and that's not really that. But the diet's the most difficult part. That's like the mental struggle.
It really is, and it's mental.
It's also the most costly part. You spend more on food than you do on gym memberships.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, but. I mean, but I figured out what's best for me and everything. I've just got to completely cut out things that have been dragging me down a little bit. But other than that, I've been doing pretty well. But like I said, my goal is to be at my weight in the spring, and then hopefully get a ship date for either the fall or summer next year.
Nice.
And then it's gonna take off from there.
After booty, let's go, baby.
Yeah,
they're gonna scream at me, daddy. That's okay, son.
That's okay.
They're not trying to hurt you; they want to help you.
I know, but yeah, that's my week.
Yeah, definitely. One of the cool things from when I went to boot camp, that's a long fucking story. I'm not going to explain it. I probably explained it before, but because while I was getting separated to be sent back,
your stories,
and I was being processed back into a civilian because of the whole paperwork bullshit and all that stuff, I got to see the other side of boot camp. So not only did I see the recruit experience, like going through the training for like the first month and a half, I got to see for about another month the behind the scenes kind of aspect to it, and helping around and talking to people and stuff like that. It was a very enlightening experience. It was very cool. And even if I knew that eventually it would have not amounted to what I was going to do, I would have still done it. Like, say if I could go back in time and try again, and I knew something was going to happen, there was going to be things set against me to make me fail, stuff like that, I would have still done it because I loved the experience and I thought it was really cool. But one thing, I talked to some of the people that after you finally complete the Crucible, which is like the last step, it's a very rough, I think it's a week and a half or a week of just pure straight in the forest, doing shit, sleeping a few hours a night, stuff like that, like to simulate like a real combat experience kind of thing.
Where Jonathan's at right now.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Right after you do that, you come back and you do like, it's called the Champions Feast, and it's like a breakfast you do, but you actually sit with all of your DIs and your instructors, and you talk with them because you're at that point you are a Marine. So they talk with you as if you were a Marine. They don't treat you like living garbage anymore.
Your brothers now.
So that's like a super cool experience to be able to sit. And then they basically just shower you with breakfast. You could get whatever the fuck you want. And they had some bomb-ass... I only got to eat them like once or twice. They had some bomb-ass French toast sticks there. Like, they were some of the best fucking French toast sticks I've ever had. Like, the eggs were disgusting and all the other shit, but the French toast sticks were lit. Like, they were so fucking good. But I only got to try them like once or twice. But
That's pretty cool.
So seeing that more human side of the people that have been completely drilling you into the ground to break you down over the last few months is pretty cool. I just had to hear from it. I was in the bathroom doing suicide watch. That didn't happen. I was talking to someone else that just went through it.
Masturbating into a toilet.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy. I have like a similar experience with that. When I went to the fire academy, well over a year ago now. I mean, because it's a paramilitary establishment, so I mean, it's nothing like boot camp. I know depending where you go, like whatever academy you go to, some are rougher than others. From what I've heard, the place I went to is like one that's like at least top 10 in the country. So I mean, not to my horn, but that's pretty cool when you look at it statistical wise.
Yeah,
because I feel like the academy I feel like it wasn't too hard, but it was just very tedious where it was day in, day out, every day. You were just there and you were just constantly doing stuff, whether it was like, later on in the academy, there was a lot more outdoor stuff once we like started getting more acclimated to our working out our gear and stuff and learning all the skills. But like in the beginning, it was a lot more book work. Days of just trying to stay awake. And then obviously we would do like PT later in the day when the sun's out, nice and hot. But there was times where we would have like some of our more serious days where like I got nervous where I wasn't sure if I was going to get like kicked out of the academy or not. Like if I there was one time where I thought I was about to quit, and that was on our ladder PT day. I'm not getting too much into details just for the sake of the story, but we pretty much go out in our gear all day and we carry ladders. Either depending what the sizes are, there'll be 1, 2, or 3 man. They get heavy and you hold them above your head. You walk around and you go around wherever they tell you to go to, and it was just scorching hot out. I remember it was back after lunch, so we just eaten too. So people were starting to puke and stuff. They're getting like all nauseated. And I remember I didn't change my socks out. So one of the important things, and I know they teach you this in the military, is like you can keep dry socks.
Yeah, all the time, dry socks.
Oh hell yeah, that's my jam right there.
Dude, that was lit.
Fuck yeah. And I remember, because it was nonstop, and I can't remember how many hours we were going at it for, but we were going nonstop, and I remember I started to feel the irritation like on my heels, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm getting blisters, and I could not stop. Like I was like, what happens if I stop? I didn't want to say anything. I got worried. No one else. I figured my mentality was I'm not stopping because no one else is stopping. Like why should I be above somebody to get a chance to have a break? And then but yeah, I fucked up my heels and had terrible blisters. And like, I remember for the next month at the academy, I was like, I had to really take good care of them, like moleskin, special blister Band-Aid, stuff like that. Like I had a nice pimp walk for going on for a while. They eventually healed. But, like,
plug what?
I remember getting yelled at a bunch for like especially that day because I was going really slow because of the blisters. But I mean, yeah, you get chewed out for a lot of things, and a lot of stupid things too. I mean, just saying, forgetting to say sir, it's like,
yeah.
Like, if you fucking address me in like the way how you should, respectively. Yeah. If not, you fucking run towers and do fucking push.
Yeah, a lot of the whole experience, and even for what you were going through, a lot of it is because they go for everyone. Everyone does the same. You're doing the same thing. It builds a camaraderie around from the people around you because everyone's going through the same thing. But I had the same thing. I had a day where you hit the wall. You hit that wall. For the first time, you hit that wall, the mental wall of, am I going to continue what I'm doing? Am I going to keep pushing through this? I went through that wall. I went through the wall near the end of the first month because it was starting to get very cold because I had gone later in the year, and every morning after you eat breakfast, you do PT in the mornings. And it was in Paris Island. Paris Island, I always get them confused. It's either South or North Carolina. I'm thinking it's South Carolina. I'm not entirely sure. Let me Google it. But it was Paris Island. It was Marine Training Boot Camp. Blah, blah, blah. But it was getting very cold. And you go out in basically nothing. You're wearing like a piece of shit, like not even thick, t-shirt and you have shorts that you can, if you look hard enough, you can probably see your nuts because they're that short. So you're just freezing your ass off and having to run, and it's very difficult to keep your breath like while you're running in colder environments, because it literally burns. It like stings while you're doing it.
Lungs.
Yeah. And then that was the same day that we also went and did the gas chamber. So, and I failed my first attempt at the gas chamber because I had vented my mask. I'd cleared it from the gas, because you get in, you do exercises with your mask on, then you take your mask off, you like break the seal. It doesn't come completely off your head. You just break the seal and gas floods in, and then you vent the mask with the filters. So it pushes all of the gas out and brings new filtered air in. I had done that. I had done what they did, but you do exercises after as well. So if people didn't properly vent, they're going to be breathing that fucking nasty ass. I don't remember the number. It's like a weaker, it's not exactly mustard gas. It's like a tear gas kind of thing. So it will make you puke and shit, and it burns like a bitch. Like you can feel it while you're standing there on your skin. It feels like you're being stabbed by like 1,000 tiny needles, because it's just burning the fuck out of like the top layer of skin that you have on your body.
Damn.
Jonathan went through the same thing. Actually, I should talk about his experience with that, because I remember sending a video of it. But so I went to go continue the exercises, which were jumping jacks. And I had smacked my mask on the top arc of my jumping mask, and I broke the seal again. And when you break the seal, the biggest thing is remaining calm. Now, obviously, inhaling tear gas, it's very difficult to remain calm. So you have to calmly go you have to calmly go over to the drill instructor that's in the room and ask him, "Sir, I've broken my seal," or "This recruit's broken their seal," which sounds kind of weird, permission to leave, and you basically announce that you failed, and you leave, and you come in with the next group to do the next thing. But I was getting antsy, and I didn't say sir initially, so he was giving me shit, and he was yelling at me while I was like, I felt like I was fucking dying, and then eventually I get it right, and I'm able to go outside, and I just proceed to puke my brains out onto the grass. And I have to wait for the next group. But while I was sitting there waiting for the next group, I'm like, man, this fucking sucks. Like, God, this is fucking awful. And then eventually, I was sitting on the floor, and I was just like
contemplating life,
like right on the edge of like just crying. Like I was like I'm like, this fucking sucks so much, dude. And I'm only a month in. I have 2 more months I have to go through. And then eventually, I just felt like a calmness kind of rush over me, and I just didn't give a fuck anymore. I don't know exactly what it was. I am kind of a believer in Christ, and I think I kind of was that. That kind of rushed over me, helped me through that situation. And from there, I was good. I just didn't give a shit anymore. At that point, moving forward, a lot of it was like when the trials came, it was just waking up and then going to sleep. That was the goal of every day. You wake up.
Small victories, man.
Yeah, look forward to eating
in the morning.
You look forward to eating your meal, and then you go to sleep at night. It was that bad. So I didn't think ahead to anything else we were doing. I just took the situations as they came, and then eventually thought, tonight I'm going to be able to go to sleep at 8 p.m. I will go to sleep at 8 p.m. I will wake up at 4 in the morning. That will happen. There's nothing I can do about it. And then I just took each day by day. And I think those experiences helped me a lot with today, like the stuff I go through, the stress of finances and stuff like that, the stress of school, stress of all other stuff. It helped me take things day by day. And you learn a lot being broken down in those situations. And I don't wish for it to happen or not to happen. I don't really dwell on that, because if it did happen, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be talking to you all, whoever's tuning in. That wouldn't have happened, because I would still be out. I would probably just be returning from my first tour at that point, if everything did go well.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, and again, I don't try and think about it too much, because again, it's nothing that can be changed. Everything happened for the reason that it did, and here we are today. And we've talked about that before, but I think that those things that we learned or that I learned in those situations really helped a lot with the things I go through day to day. I don't know why the fuck, how did we get to this? Sam, did you talk? It's because Sam brought up the fucking Air Force. That's what happened.
Yeah, and I brought the fire thing, which I actually didn't. I was gonna say because you brought up the whole how they break you down, and at the end it's the camaraderie, the brotherhood. You know, you're one of them now.
Yeah, dude, like the people that I was with there.
It's all the lesson. That's all it is. They don't hate you there. They just want you to get better. So when the time comes, potentially you'll be next to them on the battlefield, and you got each other's back. You're not freaking out, worried about hey, this guy next to me is he gonna fucking push out and like run away or something like that, or like kill himself, or what the fuck, or just fucking go ape shit. So. Same shit happened, after I passed and graduated. We all went out. We all went to like a bar somewhere, and I remember talking to one of the district chiefs for in Coral Springs, and I remember when I was in the academy, he was like this tough dude. I barely would see him. He would only come in to tell us like some serious information, and that was it. And then he was gone because he was always doing business and shit like that. So when the time came when we graduated, he was there at our celebrating with us. I had like 2 beers with the guy, and we ended up talking about a bunch of cool stuff. And in my mind, as I'm talking to him, I'm thinking like, not even, but just not even a few weeks ago, like, and for the entirety of the course the time I was there in the academy, I was like, hey, here's this guy that I thought was super strict and shit like that, but now he's just, he's like every other like everyday guy. He's just fucking. He does his job, and then, but hey, he has downtime as a human being. Pretty sure he has family or whatever. But yeah, we were shooting shit and drinking a beer. So that felt pretty cool. It felt really surreal.
Okay. So Sam, you got anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. Well, an hour in, we're not even into the actual show. I'm gonna go over my week super quick. I'm gonna talk about a few things that I did. Played some games. I've been trying to get into WoW, but I've been having issues receiving payment from my workplace, so I don't have the funds to. I played Hunt. They had a free weekend for Hunt Showdown, and I played a lot of that, and I really enjoy that game. It's a very fun battle royale. Probably one of the ones that I enjoy more than any of the others. I like it a lot. It's very fun. I've been playing that with not the Tyler here, but the other Tyler. We actually streamed it one night, and he was with me. So that's been a blast. Besides that, I'm thinking I just really haven't played much, just because the things that I want to get, I don't really have the finances to do so at this point in time. But I will be picking them up once I do get paid. Whenever that happens. It's been like 5 days. Besides that, been enjoying the shows we've been watching, the anime that's been coming out every week. God, like Shawn, speaking of that, we need to watch anime after this episode. We record this, but like Cells at Work, Hanebado, Asobi Asobase, My Hero. It's always a blast seeing My Hero, and I'm kind of sad because my sister's in Greece right now. So
is that where she went? Okay,
yeah.
I saw like a passport picture.
Yeah. So
by the way, I watched and caught up. I watched the first 2 seasons. I'm on the 3rd.
Dude, how good is this fucking show?
I watched it for you. Yeah, I fucking took a long time. I was like, it's a great show. The fight scenes are like just.
This is My Hero we're talking about. Just let everyone know.
My Hero Academia, yeah. But yeah, so I'm on season 3 right now. I don't think
season 3 had a fight.
I might have watched episode 1.
Season 3 had a fight that literally made me. I was on vacation. I was watching it with my sister because we religiously stick to that Saturday morning when it comes out. We were both. Well, it was kind of late, but I literally was standing up out of my chair like, Deku, do it, boy. You gotta win. And it's just I was like, it's been a long time since I've ever been so just invested in the characters in a show. Now, like, there'll be times where I'm like super involved with the story, but to the point where I'm like almost screaming at the TV like, you have to do this. Like, it just hasn't happened in a long time. And I just adore My Hero so much. And even if you don't like anime, just watch the show. give it a chance, give it a few episodes. It is really fucking good, to the point where I don't recommend it to someone because they watch anime. I recommend it to someone because I know it might be something that they will enjoy, because it's a good show. It has its anime quirks it has its anime quirks. It feels like an anime. It's not like it feels any different from one. Like things like Erased. I recommend Erased to people because it's just a good story. It doesn't really have too many quirks that exist to anime that like people associate with anime. It's just a very well told story that's super good and has awesome characters. That's Erased.
I recommend Seikon no Quasar.
No,
I
don't even.
High School of the Dead.
So, can we stop? I recommend Boku no Pico. Can we stop this now? And if you haven't seen Bible Black, give it a whirl.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
So definitely watch. If you haven't fallen to the hype train that is My Hero, definitely give that shit a shot. It is so fucking good. The characters, the love put into that world is fantastic. It's an awesome show.
Mwah.
Yeah. Besides that, I'm just enjoying, I love Cells at Work. It's pretty much just Osmosis Jones, the anime, and it fills me with joy because it's just so charming and adorable the way they do everything, and the way that they personify the different parts of the body and the cells in your body that are fighting to keep you alive every day and all that shit. It's just super awesome, and I love watching the show.
Are we still talking about Bible Black?
No, it's called Cells at Work. We need to get
question.
Yeah, we need to get back into Haikyuu too, because that show is fucking magnanimous. A fantastic sports anime. Actually has me interested in volleyball, which I never thought I'd say in my life. Definitely an awesome show. And besides that, not really much has been going on. Just been working. Getting ready for the fall semester of school, and continuing with life, enjoying each day as it passes. So let's get into our mailbag segment. Holy shit, now we're in our mailbag. We have 2 questions, one from Sam and one from Larik, our boy Larik from the community. Oh, got some beef.
Freaking nothing. Just yeah, never mind.
All right, so let's get into this real quick. So we got Sam saying, "Hey peeps, the adventures of Bo, Seamus, and Kay are going to take a break this week. This was last week since we didn't do an episode last week, but we'll return for more riveting escapades next week. Today I wanted to ask you about game trailers, specifically gameplay trailers. Red Dead Redemption 2's first gameplay trailer dropped this week, and it has me excited for the game with the nth degree of hype. My question is, does seeing gameplay footage help facilitate your level of excitement? Does it give you hope, doubt, or indifference about the title in question, or do you avoid any gameplay footage in order to not spoil the experience until you actually play the game? Your thoughts and opinions would be appreciated. Love y'all. Mr. Future Kyle, cue that clip." Okay, so real quick, I'm going to give my answer and then we'll just go around the table. I watched the Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay trailer. Dog, I'm going to crucify you. Give me 1 second. Actually, Shawn, you answer this since you don't have a lot to say about Red Dead.
Well, in terms of trailers, I don't know anybody that would try and avoid a gameplay trailer for spoilers, since usually they don't tell you much about the story. But I don't know anybody that would want to buy a game without having seen something first. I've never run across that. I don't know why I'd find a trailer discouraging. I'm not understanding the question properly.
It's saying that he's referring to gameplay compared to just pre-rendered shit. Like, would you rather see actual gameplay when a trailer is shown, or would you, like, does that put you off if you just
wants to see cutscene stuff?
That's the question.
I always want to see gameplay.
Okay, then that does he's saying.
I don't find it discouraging. I just was trying to figure out what the discouraging part was so I could answer that.
I don't see anything. I don't even see the word discouraging in here.
I thought there was something about it. Do you find it discouraging
or
or
something?
something?
Hope, doubt, or indifference
about the title in question. There's something that says
that would be on the game and the footage they show.
Yeah. It also says, do you avoid any gameplay footage in order to not spoil the experience until you actually play the game? So, like, I've heard,
because it never spoiled it for me before.
I can see that for movies, video games. I know a lot. I feel like they're almost one and the same, but they're also 2 separate entities. Where when you want to play a video game or like the video game's coming out, like for example, I mean, just to kind of curve off, because I mean I like Red Dead too, but just a bigger franchise is the new Halo game coming out, or whatever the fuck it's called. It's not Halo 6, but
Halo
actually
Infinite.
they said it's supposed to be Halo 6.
Halo Infinite.
It is
But
Halo 6 though.
343 said it was Halo 6. They just didn't put the 6 on, but. Again, all you saw was a fucking long ass video of a bunch of landscapes, and then at the end, Master Chief's helmet, and it looked like it was going back to like the original. That's it. That's all you saw. In a movie, it's like you see I think nowadays too, because back then they were very high and dry about it. You kind of got like a quick trailer. It never gave too much out. Now everything, the purpose of like trailers now. You play like a really cool song in the background, and then you give like something of the plot in there, and then a bunch of like cool action sequences or whatever is like important. You see some parts of like the climax of the film, and then that's it. So then they reveal a lot. So a lot of it sometimes too is I mean that's what trailers are supposed to get you to do, is to be interested and get interest into wanting to go see, or in this case play something. So. When I saw the Red Dead trailer, I was kind of like, okay, it looks good. I'm glad I saw, that again, when they show gameplay on something, that's one thing I want to see. I don't want to just see a trailer or like a cutscene. You want to see how the game actually, how it shows itself, how it will look when you play, like, so nothing is going to change. How how smooth it is, how the mechanics are, first, third person, whatever. So when I saw it, I was like, I mean, I like the first one. I had friends that like loved it. I had friends that hated it. It wasn't Grand Theft Auto. Not everyone likes the Wild West, but I thought it was pretty interesting. So just gonna throw that in there.
I can kind of see for gameplay footage. Now it's a weird thing because eventually you'll see it, but like for the Rockstar titles, the way they do it is over time as it gets to the release date, they drop videos that slowly show more of the game. Like we'll probably see more Red Dead trailers as we get closer to its release date that will show little bits and ounces and more of the game things that you do. Some people aren't too much of a fan of it because they'd rather it be a surprise when they do pick up the game, especially when the game is still a few months away. You get something spoiled. And the thing is, with these companies, they have to be careful with trailers, because with movie trailers, a movie is something that it's like a short experience. You'll get an idea of what's going on, but they have movie trailers that can spoil too much of the story. They have some trailers that will literally
Terminator Genesis.
Yeah, they'll dead ass. It's like you just watched the movie. I don't got to go pay for it. I know exactly what happens now. But for the gameplay trailers, they have to be careful that they don't do too much or too little as they get closer to release, because you could generate hype super early for a game, and if the game doesn't come out for a few months, that hype can die out over time because other things happen. People just move on. It's it's how the internet works. Something can be super popular for a day and then completely non-existent the next day. So with these, they kind of have to be careful as they show off features not to completely blow their load early, so to speak. That fucking laugh. Blow the load early, so to speak, and then generate too much hype, and then just as it gets closer to release, people just don't care as much anymore. So I like how Bethesda did it with like Fallout 4, where they released a gameplay trailer, a shitload of shit's going on. You didn't really know much about the game at all before it happened. The trailer drops, boom, the game's coming at the end of the month, and you're just like, holy shit.
That's awesome.
Holy crap. Like, I need this now. And then it just generates a shitload of hype all at once, and you got a few weeks before the game actually comes out, and then you don't get too much waiting time for people their hype to die out. So I like how they do that. Am I excited for Red Dead 2 after the gameplay trailer? I can say yes. I'm a big fan of a world that's like self-enclosed and operates within its own like boundaries, like just the small things. And Rockstar's very good about the small things, where you can wave to someone passing by on horseback. You can interact with the NPCs. They're not just placeholders that sit there that give you something to shoot at every once in a while. It feels like a living world. And I really like when games put emphasis on that and make it where it feels realistic. You feel like you're in the Wild West. People that like the Wild West want to live in the Wild West, so giving them a way to do that through escapism is a good thing. That's what they want. They want to be able to be there and experience that like firsthand. So this game is tending to that emotion, and it's really cool. And I'm not a big fan of Wild West, but the idea, like I was saying before, of a world you can interact with in minute ways and tiny details and things like that. I love those types of games, and I think they're really awesome. So is it the most excited game I am for? Not necessarily. I'm more excited for Spider-Man because I like Spider-Man. I'm more excited for... What else is coming out? What was the other game coming out that I was excited for? Actually, I don't think there is one. I'll tell you the least game I'm excited for. Shut the fuck up. You get out of here with that bullshit. Black Ops 4.
Yes. Fuck you, Call of Duty.
So that's my answer. Anyone else got anything else to add that they think?
Sam, how about you, the man who asked the question?
Yeah. Answer your question, Sam.
So, my point to the question was that gameplay trailer footage is to give you insight on what it's going to look like and what the developers, well, what it's supposed to be. And I think a lot of times,
fall short.
Yeah, 100% of the time, what you see is what you're going to be playing. But then, of course, we've been sort of like, tricked in the past. I don't know. I can't really give it.
No Man's Sky.
I was waiting for that.
But,
yeah.
But my point is that I know there's some people out there who won't even watch gameplay footage just so that they can go into it blind, and so that they have a totally nuanced experience instead of seeing all this hype, seeing what to expect, and then you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing, or you know what you see. Of course, you don't see the whole game, of course, but I think I just know that I've seen a lot of people say I'm going into it blind.
Yeah.
So that's just an interesting prospect.
I think that a lot of that
I've
depends.
never seen that before.
And you guys ever played a game?
With games not being what they say they're going to be, a lot of times your trailers are a warning.
100%
to stay away.
It's case by case, because people wouldn't do this with a game they don't know about. A lot of people is like, this is Rockstar. This game's going to be good. I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and make it where all these cool things that they're introducing into this game, I'm going to find out as I play, instead of me learning about it. Again, kind of like that thing where they don't want to get too hyped for the game too early and have to wait. And then they just know, oh yeah, you could befriend horses and shit like that. So a lot of it, they want to go in, so they get hit with that hype right as they play. And it kind of almost makes the experience fucking enlightened, where you're in nirvana, some shit kind of thing. I understand it. And it does not happen with every game. There's no way this will happen with a game that people aren't confident that the developer will do good. Like, this won't happen with fucking what's that Iron Man simulator game coming out? Anthem. It's not going to happen with Anthem. People want to know about Anthem because they're cautious of Anthem. But with a Rockstar game, people know Rockstar's got a track record. If a new Naughty Dog game came out, people know, like, hey, this Naughty Dog I know is going to make a good game. They have not made a bad game since, or have ever made a bad game, or again, it's all subjective. So they know, hey, I'm going to go into this blind, so all the hype hits me at once, kind of thing, as I kind of open up this product that has been given to me, not something that they've told me about over the past few months. But no, there's no fucking way in hell this would happen with a game that wasn't Rockstar, wasn't Naughty Dog, wasn't like a company that has a good track record with these things. So that's why I can understand both sides of the argument. I'm not that type of person though. So,
have any of you guys actually done that? Picked up a game and just like not now, but maybe when you're younger, have you ever went into a GameStop or a Blockbuster even, where it's like the only advertisement you've seen is on that game case, and it's like, that looks cool. There's one or two pictures, there's the cover, a few words you'll probably read, but as a kid you just fucking look at the picture and it's like, whoa, explosions, let me get this. Have you guys ever done that? That's the only time I was trying to think this during this whole question of you guys, and you guys answering, I was trying to think if I've actually ever done that, because I feel like at some point we very well might have, and it most likely was when we were kids. You ever just pick the game up? The only time.
Oh.
Oh.
It was Tyler for that answer that question
weird.
for me at least. It was never.
I heard something that kind of freaked me out.
It was never. It was never by my choice. It was usually something that like I stumbled across, like you're saying. But I never made a conscious choice to say like, oh, I'm just going to avoid all of the promotional material for this game so I could when I go and decide to start playing it, I'm just unraveling it myself. That's never been a conscious choice I've made.
Right. Okay. Maybe I just kind of thought of it. I mean, I was more curious though, thinking of it in that aspect too. But yeah, if knowing a game was coming out but you didn't see anything of it, then that's one thing, I guess.
Like
rather than just stumbling upon it, like I was trying to say, like, you know, especially as a kid, you know, you fucking go on like when Blockbuster was a thing, you'd go down the aisles and just start scanning.
Like for Cyberpunk, dude, I want to see more of this game. I haven't seen enough. All we've had is pre-rendered cutscenes and shit that they've showed us. I'm not gonna spend the rest year and a half, 2 years waiting for this game to come out, not touching any of the promotional material. And just seeing that one reveal trailer they did, I want to know.
I'll buy any fucking Alien game that comes out. I know it's probably gonna suck ass, but if it's
Alien,
I'll fucking buy it.
Trash.
Isolation was an
Isolation
awesome
was a good game.
All right, well, that's an outlier. That and Predator versus Alien, the arcade game. Outside of that, they've all been garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I'll buy it. Even if it's garbage too, I'll still buy it because I bought Clone Marines.
With Final Fantasy, it's
first
not like
pre-order. Last pre-order.
Yeah. What about you? What about you? And what about you, Shawn? Have you ever purposely avoided a game's promotional material?
Oh no. Yeah. I want to know what I'm buying. Besides, I can't remember a single game promotion because the promotional videos are just out there to sell the game.
Yeah.
They're all advertisements. Like, hey, look at this cool thing. Look at this new thing, and you're excited to find out some of the cool things about the game, but I've never seen one that spoiled it for me. Or, I mean, I've seen some that I was like, oh hell no, I don't want to play that. They're doing that, no, you know. So to me, it's just, especially considering games have always cost so much money, they've never been cheap unless you're buying from the discount bin. And it used to be you'd have to beg your parents for it, and you might get, you know, a tiny, you know, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 games a year. Especially if your parents are poor, you know, when you're growing up. So you got to know what you want and have all that research done. So I used to pore over the pages of Nintendo Power and Game Pro and fucking anything I could get my hands on before the internet was a thing. And then once the internet popped, I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I'd read the websites, look at all the pictures, look at all the review, the talk about it beforehand. And these days I'm much more relaxed about it. I'm able to get enough information off of gleaning sources rather than diving headfirst in. That's just because I have more shit going on in my life than when you're a kid. You're able to devote more energy into that stuff when you're younger. But I've never had anything spoiled for me, so I can't imagine a game come out where I wouldn't look at the materials if I have the opportunity to, and not just because I'm trying to find out more about the game, but because I'm excited for it. I watch everything for Cyberpunk because that's one of my most favorite genres.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, more stuff to eat until I get there.
Yeah.
You know.
What about you, Sam?
So I don't know. I'm all about the shit.
Yeah. What about you, Sam?
It just depends. Like, you know, there's certain games that, you know, I'm hyped for, but I also don't want to see too much of it because I want to experience it myself. And I want to have that kind of fresh, like, view of, you know, hey, this was in the trailer, but now I get to experience it firsthand, you know, instead of, like, seeing it in the trailer. And that was my point, is that a lot of times I'll see a game that I really enjoy, and I'll be all over it. Like the Pokemon games the past few years, I've seen every single video. I knew all the new Pokemon coming out. But, you know, it might be that, but maybe the new 8th gen, I might not look at anything because I feel like I want to have a surprise, because I feel like it would mean more if I experienced it, you know, firsthand instead of seeing it on a video. But that's just me. I mean, that's just how I see it. But I understand where you're coming from, like, where it's like, you know, games aren't cheap and you want to know what you're getting into before you decide to, you know, purchase it and stuff. And I understand that completely. But I was just kind of floating that out there just to see, like, what y'all thought and like the process behind why I asked it.
Yeah. All right. Good question. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We got one more. We're already an hour and a half in. We got to kind of...
If it spawns a conversation, it's always good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So we have from Lark. He asks, what is everyone's thoughts on cross-media storytelling for games? Oh, excuse me. This is where parts of the story for a game is told in external media, like books, comics, and videos.
That's where canon.
If you only play through the game, you would miss these story elements. Back in the day, a lot of story and lore was given in the booklet or manual that came with games. This was more due to limitation of games, but the media was also provided with the game when you purchased it. You could choose to dive into the content or not. Now, with the internet being so prevalent, most of this content is either purchased or has to be looked for outside of the game or items that came with your purchase. Do you guys like it since it provides additional deeper ways of communicating character motivations and thoughts that wouldn't necessarily work in a game, or do you believe all stories should be contained within the game itself? Do you think cross-media for some types of games and not for other? If so, which types of games and why? This question is spawned from WoW having Warbringer shorts, books, and comics that have all had canon lore that was part of the game world that could be completely missed if the gamer didn't seek it out. P.S. Suck it, Sam. My question was longer.
Nice.
What do we think about this?
I have kind of like two sides to it. I think yes, I like that games can go beyond what their own medium, like comic books, movies, TV shows. Of course, that hasn't always been successful with the TV and movies, but anything that adds to the lore, adds more insight, or even just like sort of like seeing a game in another media, I think is pretty cool. Like I've been reading I have the Legend of Zelda manga series, and it's definitely different to see the story played out when you're not playing it. The artist's interpretation or the author's interpretation of how the game went is totally different than yours, because obviously the story is already is following the script, which is fine, and it's just great to see that interpretation of what this artist or this author saw. So it's great to see a different perspective of how you would imagine if you were to experience it yourself. So that'd be one thing where I think I actually enjoy to see the game in that kind of media, cross media kind of thing. But like when it really and another one was this game called Defiance. I don't know if y'all knew it or whatever.
I remember Defiance.
Yeah, and it was also a TV show on Sci-Fi, and they tried to do
still running. I thought they canned it.
I don't know. I don't know if it's still alive. I just know that was another point of cross media where you could play the game and then you could actually watch the show, and it would add content or story to it.
The events in the game were supposed to influence the show, but they shit-canned that idea when the game ended up being kind of flat.
Yeah, it's a pretty ambitious idea, but I still think it was kind of cool that they tried something like that. But yeah, I think that having this more story outside the game is for those who may not be into games, but they want to know about the story. So I embrace it. I think it's great. I think that there should be more of this kind of thing for games, just for those who want to get more into the story, more into the lore. I mean, heck, I've got I got the Hyrule Historia, which is one of my favorite pieces of extra.
Which version do you have?
I guess the first version. I don't know. I don't know.
The leather-bound one?
No, I don't have the leather-bound one. I have the hardback one.
Okay. They've done a few updates to it, like every time they release new Zelda information, when all the new printings of the book get updated. But that leather-bound one is worth so much money, it hurts my balls. Because I had a chance to buy it when it first came out, and I was like, oh, I'll have the money next month. I need to hold on to the cash now, and I held on to it, and then I held on the money and ended up not needing to spend it on what I thought I was going to, so then I went back to order it, and the orders had closed, and now it's worth stupid amounts of money, and that makes me cry. I'm sorry, continue.
No, I was done.
Okay.
I bottom line, I think there should be more stuff like this for games.
What do you think, Tyler?
I like the idea of cross media. and just having it in different areas, because kind of like what Sam said, sometimes people aren't always into the games, but it's the story base itself. I was trying to think of like an instance when I probably have done something like that, and I remembered in middle school. And did you ever have Miss Lowe in Glades?
She sounds familiar. I don't remember though.
She was okay. Anyways, I had her in it was my 7th grade reading teacher, I believe. And we had like pick like we did like a monthly book you had to read, anything that you wanted to, as long as you like wrote like some sort of summary on it or whatever. And I remember going to the library with my mom, and it was kind of like, oh, I like books that kind of pertain to things I already know. I'm not really into like reading like something new, like something that like I can reference off of, something that I've heard of before. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like I'll read that. And I remember scanning through whatever section I was in, and I saw a Halo ring, and then down there I saw Halo. I'm like, a book? So I pull it out, and it was, of course, it had the series there from Eric Nyland, I believe the author was, and it was very well enough. It was just another story of Halo and Master Chief, and things that you weren't able to play when playing on Xbox as Master Chief in the Halo games, but you saw his story prior to, and also some. I think all the ones that were there pertaining to Master Chief were prior to you actually playing him in like the story, like in the canon. But like there's the Fall of Reach, there's the Flood. I remember the Fall of Reach, I think, was the first one I read, and it was mostly his backstory. So like if you really wanted to get a true understanding of
Master Chief's
of John's backstory, then reading that book, it helped you out a lot, and you got to understand more about Dr. Halsey, the rest of Blue Team, his all the other Spartans too of the Spartan 2 program. So it was kind of cool to see where the character that you weren't controlling, but you saw where he was going, and to ultimately like where you would finally pick him up. So I thought that was pretty cool, and obviously a lot of it's the same basis. So like the characters, the styles, pretty much you even knew some of just the personas of some of the characters in there. So like, you kind of knew how each person acted. Also some new people as well, or even like in future installments, like let's say, because you never actually met some of you never met except for in Halo 5, when you actually met some of Blue Team, you never knew them prior to. There's no character that you've seen on screen. You just knew them in the books, or in some comic or something. Now they're finally brought to life on the screen, and now you get to see how they operate. So I thought that was pretty cool. So sometimes things beforehand, and then down the road they might actually be implemented into an actual game, and you already know something about them. So I found that pretty interesting, because that's kind of what happened when I played Halo 5. I was like, oh, this is what's her face, So I like the idea. Again, it just gives you more of an open mind of everything that you like about whatever story, really. So,
okay,
yeah,
cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't read all of them, but I love the Halo novels. I like Halo's expanded universe. I think it's really cool, and that's why I've always wanted a TV show, and it's cool that I think we actually have one that might be coming our way soon.
Oh yeah,
but it's. The universe of Halo is very interesting outside of Master Chief, even with the other things that is going on in that world. Shawn, what about you? What do you think about this?
I think that it's positive. I mean, they've been doing expanded or cross media information for a long time. You'll have comic books for movies, novels that expand on movies. Same thing for games, comic book for games and novels. And then later on, you end up with really complex media campaigns like those websites that are supposed to be, the ones that are supposed to be real, but they aren't.
Oh, an ARG. I didn't even fucking think about that. An ARG, an augmented reality game, where it's like they have like this whole meta game going behind to help you learn more about the world, but they don't just give it to you. It's something you have to figure out yourself.
Sometimes, but they'll have a game or a movie where there'll be websites for the corporation that's in the game.
Yeah, it's
like one time they released a Resident Evil, and then they never announced the website. You'll see a QR code in a magazine or on a website, and it'll just be there, or it'll be on the it'll be on like Capcom's website or somebody's website, or you might see a hidden link that you have to do something special to be able to find on a website, or it'll be a link hidden in the text or underneath a picture in a magazine or on a website or somewhere. And there are people that find these things, and they found Umbrella's corporate website, and then there was a bunch of hidden content in there. There was, when they released one of the Matrix films, there was a bunch of ghost websites that were produced by the film team, where you could go in and hack and find information and hear conversations. And when there was 2 or 3 websites for when Destiny did that last
the raid,
Wrath of the Machine.
Yeah, you had to go online.
There was a couple secret sites where you could go and find conversations between Cade and some of the other NPCs that reveal plot and stuff like that. It's not always just books and artwork and music and things like that, or radio plays and such. But I think it's wonderful. I just think that when you're doing that, you should make it something that it's frustrating for me when I'm a huge fanatic of a franchise. I'm deep in the fandom, but it's a lot of money. Sometimes they'll release all these novels and then games and then spin-off games and then art books and music and websites and then multi-platform games. And in order to get the whole story, you have to play all these things. And it feels a little unfair sometimes. It's frustrating.
That's what YouTube's for.
I think if they would it's not the same experience.
Cross-media DLC.
You're the kind of person that is satisfied if somebody gives you the summarization of something in a square paragraph of text. But I am the kind of person that needs to experience it as it was meant.
Damn,
like, I prefer to see movies. And no, it's not a bad thing. It's just that he's able to get his information that way and be happy with it. If I'm going to watch a movie, I want to see it in the theater because I want that experience, that ambiance. There's a lot that goes into it besides just the show. Like, some movies just don't translate well on home video.
Some movies are meant to just see it. Exactly. Oh yeah.
Jesus.
But with the home, this multimedia stuff, like, sometimes you can't afford all the games, or you don't own this other system.
Kyle, that's the name of the episode.
There's been some games where all of the information is contained in the game, but you get to experience it in a different way through other media, or like sometimes you'll have a text box that gives you the basic rundown, so at least you're not missing that backstory that deepens the game's experience. Because if you read the Halo novels, when you're playing the games, there's a lot of stuff that would not even register if you hadn't read them.
Yeah.
Like, stuff that just completely is not important, like a readout on a screen. Like, what was that one, ODST? There is a shit ton of stuff in the background in ODST that you run by, that you'll see on computer screens, that you'll hear on the loudspeakers. That doesn't mean anything to you unless you've read the books.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh shit, that means something, that ties into this. And that enriches the whole experience. And that's something that, unfortunately, a lot of us miss out on. So I wish that they would keep that in mind, so that people that maybe can't afford all of the different items can still get that story information in some way, shape, or form. That part's frustrating to me, but I think it's wonderful. Plus, we're geeks, and fandom is our way of life. So being able to throw ourselves into something and consume multiple bits of content instead of one just gives you more bang, Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say it right now though. I like this. It's cool. It's awesome. Books, fuck them. YouTube shorts, fuck them. Comics, fuck them. Give me a pre-release, like say a new game's coming out, right? And they don't say jack shit about this game, but they release an ARG prior to its release that they just drop onto the internet and people kind of figure out. I think those are so fucking cool because usually when you're delving into media, there's always you can immerse yourself, you can escape into that world, but there's always like a physical limiter. Like you're constantly reminded, oh yeah, I'm reading a book. Oh yeah, I'm playing a game. Oh yeah, I'm watching a movie. But with ARGs, it's kind of like that one step closer because you're actually interacting. I just feel like that wall is even thinner in something that you're uncovering yourself or with a community of people than as if you were just to sit down and read a book, sit down, watch a movie, sit down, read a comic or something like that. So I think those are super cool because it feels almost as if the thing that's going on is unfolding within like your world kind of thing because it's happening in front of you. You see it. You see all the progress is done by a community of people. It's not a arc
for example.
You're not flipping a page. Like the thing with the Destiny raid, right? Although they have ARGs for a lot of things that aren't necessarily a new movie coming out or something like that. There are people that make
I don't remember augmented reality coming into Destiny.
The raid that was released for the final thing, there was a secret. There was a secret way of this is how you get the sleeper stimulant. The awesome badass Spartan laser type weapon. We jumped around on vents that had numbers coordinated with them.
Yeah.
All that information.
I don't remember that.
All that information was discovered on a website that people had to dig into the code, dig into the HTML of the website.
Okay.
Yeah, all that was done through the website. The
downside is that's really difficult for people that don't have that skill set.
Oh, well, yeah, but the good thing, the marvelous thing about the internet and us all being interconnected is the moment that someone with that skill set figures out, everyone else knows. This wouldn't work back when we were younger because we weren't as connected as we are now. But with the amount
they used to hide it in magazines then.
Yeah, but with the amount of interaction that just people have amongst each other that aren't necessarily physically near each other, the moment one person figures out, you go on Reddit, everyone knows. We figured it out. It was figured out within the first week of the thing happening. And then within that week, a few days from it being known, everyone was doing the sleeper stimulant quest. But it wasn't just like a quest log pops up. You got to go jump on this, go do this, and kill 5 squirrels and bring back their pelt. No, it was like an actual fucking website that had to be like a person with a certain skill set. Now, for those people with those skill set, the experience would be enhanced because they're the ones actually doing the delving. But for the rest of the community watching the event take place, again, it feels like that wall that usually kind of holds you back from fully immersing yourself in something. It's that much thinner because the whole event is taking place in the community. It's not just you flipping a page on a book or going to another panel on a comic or you're in the new scene of a short kind of thing. I love that, and I think it's so fucking cool. So that's that. That's my favorite type of this cross-media thing that we're talking about. Like, if you look at another example, you look at the new Godzilla movie coming out, and the fact that they only showed a few of the monsters, but they made a website where, again, it's not as advanced as like the Destiny thing was. But if you go to the website and find the website, they show that there's more monsters and that there's going to be more Titans coming out and shit like that. And it's all something that you
no spoilers.
It's all I'm not saying I'm not. It was on the website. Fuck you. and that it was left for the community to find out. And then when that's found out, it's just word of mouth being spread. People talking to each other about like, yo, did you hear about this Titan or this Titan or this Titan or something like that?
Well, I think it's much cooler when they do it in universe, though. Like if the website is made out to be like a newspaper or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's how they did it.
Just
like the Monarch Files or something.
Yeah, that's definitely how they did it with Godzilla. You were accessing the governments that exist in that world.
It's the Monarch.
Yeah. So I love that stuff though, because again,
I wonder if they're gonna bring King Kong into it.
That'd be dope. I know they're making a King Kong versus Godzilla, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
King Kong's gonna get his shit pushed in.
So after this one, I think they're doing. I think they're doing one more Kong movie or the King Kong versus Godzilla already. So I don't know. They're trying to. It's coming out soon. I want to say so.
I wonder if they're still planning on bringing in the giant robots thing. that show
Pacific Rim.
Yeah,
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, Pacific Rim was originally
crossover,
intended to be crossed with Godzilla.
That's fucking dope.
Yeah,
dude.
but I mean, I don't know.
I like what they did with God. Tyler reminded me of it when he was talking about his games. What they did with I know Kyle's not into the reading aspect of it, but when they released
Godzilla had good novels too. Novelization.
Dead Space.
Oh,
When they released Dead Space had a bunch of webcomics. Some of them were released on computers, some were released on PlayStation, and they were extremely well done. And with Dead Space, I thought they did it right because they gave you everything you needed to know to enjoy Dead Space in the games, although you had to really dig to get all of the information. But they gave you everything you really needed to know. But when you watched those webcomics and then saw the 3 or 4, I think it was 3 movies, and then you played the one on Wii, the rail shooter, before you got to Dead Space 2, some of Dead Space 2 makes so much more sense. It just feels so much deeper because you have all this additional information. Because Dead Space's universe is very difficult to unravel, and it's intentionally challenging to understand with the necrophages and whatnot. And when you finally get to see that additional information, it really makes the game seem like so much deeper.
Yeah, and
just because of how much of an existing world they've taken the care to craft.
Yeah, it's cool because it's not like normally if this wasn't the alternative, they just drop all the information on you in the game, right?
Sometimes you can't, man.
Yeah, I kind of also like
there's not space for the branching off.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like that reward for that deeper experience because you've taken the work to kind of go out and search for more information, right? I like that idea. You get like a sense of satisfaction, like, oh, this makes so much sense because of this one comic that I read, because I took the time to go out and search more of the lore, search more of the universe, and you kind of are rewarded in later installments. Or same thing with Halo. Halo is, to someone that's just playing it, it's a shooter with aliens in it. If you read the novels, there's a struggle going on. There's a fight with the inner psyche of John and the things that he's had to do and his team and that bond that they have amongst each other and all of this. And again, if you didn't do any of the reading, you would know none of it. And it would have no impact on you. But the fact that you took the time to seek out that information, you almost have a revelation when they keep to that canon and they bring references of that canon back in later games. And again, it's like a eureka moment kind of thing, and you're just super satisfied with yourself because you took the time to fully invest yourself in this world and the lore. And again, it's definitely very it enriches the entire experience, like you were saying earlier. All right, we're like 2 hours in and we haven't even gotten to the news. Any last statements on this question?
Penis.
Okay.
Penis.
We'll go ahead.
Definitely penis. I think that's important.
Thank you for the question, Lark, for the conversation. Thank you as well, Sam, for your question. We always appreciate you guys dropping us information. If you do want a question answered on the podcast, either something deep or something silly, our favorite flavor of pie or whatever, feel free. If you either join our Discord, all the links to all this stuff will be in the description below. But you could join our
pie.
You could join
cream pie.
You could join our Discord. You could speak with the community there, hang out. We have announcements that we drop on there. That's the best way to keep connected with the community we have here at the Thought Patrol podcast. If you don't want to do that way, you can send us an email, thoughtpatrolcast@gmail.com. You can send us your question through there. You could at us on Twitter at ThoughtPatrolPD with the hashtag TP mailbag. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. You can leave a comment below with the hashtag mailbag on YouTube. Those are any ways you could drop us questions and we can go from there and you can have them read on the next episode. We'd appreciate that interaction with us. We want to hear from you guys, what kind of things you guys like and stuff like that. Speaking of that, we completely missed the housekeeping segment, but I'm going to go back to it before we move forward. We do Twitch streams. Have you watched someone on Twitch, a woman showing her titties, or someone playing high levels of League of Legends. I don't know. If you enjoy Twitch, we're there. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are streaming. It's more of like a variety stream. We don't play just one game. We do different things. On Fridays, we have horror nights. So I grab a bunch of really shitty indie horror games and we play through them. It's always an interesting night on Friday because you never know what you're going to get with some of these indie games. Feel free to stop by, say hi, drop us a follow. We're currently at like 68 or 69 follows. We'd love to get to 100 and just keep moving from there and trying to grow. This is growing, just Twitch is growing much faster than the YouTube is. I think it might be a better avenue for us to connect with you guys. It's also cool with Twitch, the level of interactivity you can have directly with the viewer that's tuning in. That's awesome. You don't really get that with YouTube. And it's easier for us here to do because YouTube's difficult I have a very hectic time schedule. YouTube's kind of difficult to do because editing is not the easiest process. It takes a while. So we'd appreciate if you could show us some love over on Twitch. That is twitch.tv/ThoughtPatrol, one word. Again, we have a Discord. If we talk about anything this week that interests you, something you want to drop your opinion on, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Also, if you're on YouTube, that isn't really our home base, but feel free to subscribe there. You'll get our podcast every week on any podcast service you are tuning into us on, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, any of those areas. Feel free to hit that subscribe.
On Facebook.
We are on Facebook as well. It's mostly for announcement at this point, but Shawn also links his reviews when he does them on the Streaming Geek. So that's another way of keeping in touch with us, see what we're doing throughout the week. I need to also start dropping the YouTube link on there whenever we release a new episode. I've been neglecting it there. We also have a Twitter, as I spoke of, at ThoughtPatrolPD. Again, mostly for announcements, keeping up with us. With the best way of doing that being Discord. I love Discord so much. So we'd appreciate any help you could throw our way, help us grow a bit, and reach out to more people. Even if you tell your mom, yo, mom, I listen to these people on the internet. They're pretty cool. They might be douchebags, but hey, listen to this. It's pretty dope. And then she could tell her Bunko buddies. I don't fucking know. But we'd appreciate you.
What is Bunko?
It's like a weird dice rolling game that you gamble on. I don't know. My mom plays it on Thursdays or some shit.
Okay.
Google it.
Your weekly book reading. No Bunko buddies.
I'm Googling it now because you've asked me.
Kyle would also show his boobs too on Twitch.
Nice
so.
dude.
Yeah. Ruth.
Oh, yo, YouTube video, how to play.
When we said titties, we're talking about Kyle's.
What is Bunko? Bunko is a social dice game, traditionally played with 12 people who are divided into 3 tables with 4 players at each table. But really, almost any number can play. You roll dice. There's usually alcohol involved, and you get points by rolling dice.
Alcohol makes everything better.
Okay. Yep. So your mom gets hammered.
Especially alcoholism. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah! All right, so let's move on to our fucking box office tops. We got some movies that came out and did some things and stuff.
Christopher Robin, number 1.
Christopher Robin's like 3 weeks in, dude. You're late. What's number 1?
Oh,
The Meg.
The Meg?
The Meg was fantastic, but I doubt that's number 1.
Yeah, I know.
It's on its second week now.
Yeah. You guys, I don't think you guys would guess what number 1 is.
I don't really know what's coming out lately, to be honest with you. I don't really know anything that good.
It's not Mission Impossible. All right. Number 1, holding it up just a little bit ahead of The Meg by $4 million. We have Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, I heard about that.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's supposed to actually be good.
Siler. Holy shit. God damn it.
It's terrible.
All right. At number
I didn't even catch that at first. That was genius.
It made $25 million for the weekend. It is its first weekend. At number 2, we do have The Meg pulling in $21 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of $83 million in its second week. At number 3, we have Mile 22 sitting at $13 million in its first week. At number 4, we have Mission Impossible Fallout sitting at $10 million for the weekend, pulling a total of $118 million in its fourth week. At number 5, it's the stupid numbers are stupid. At number 5, we have Alpha pulling $10 million for the weekend, sitting at a total of $10 million being its first week. Some honorable mentions. We have Disney's Christopher Robin pulling $8 million for the weekend, sitting at number 6. Slender Man actually made money. I don't know how.
I heard that game was a game. I heard that movie was ass.
Pulling 5.
It was super ass.
Yeah, pulling $5 million,
terrible.
sitting at a total of $20 million
Shouldn't have been made.
with a budget of $10 million. Usually, how horror movies do.
Yeah, well, if they made it, but if somebody who liked the game had made it, then they would have thought a little bit deeper than doing what they did with it.
Also, if they would have released it
shitty...
when it was actually big, I could have seen it actually doing well. But no, let's release it like 5 years
now, yeah.
after
Well,
it's
think
fucking.
about it, man. Video game movies always come out like 4 years after it
Video
matters.
game movies always suck.
And they do suck.
They don't always suck. They almost always suck.
Yeah, the Tomb Raider one wasn't awful.
There's always the unicorn. But just
Well, that's about it, really.
If anybody hasn't seen the Meg, I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I read your review. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I do want to, but I don't know if I'll watch it in the theaters. I might watch it like when it comes out Redbox. But I do want to watch it. I do enjoy the good old shark movie every once in a while.
It's worth it. It's better than a shark movie because it's a giant shark movie.
I love Jason Statham. I think he's really good.
I just like you just see it to hear him say Megalodon.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
that was the best.
All the women are wet. Nothing else can be done.
Oh
It's an ocean in the movie theater.
Not traditionally a good movie. There's a lot of problems with it. They just got lazy. But the parts that you go to see it for are all brilliantly done. It just kind of sucks that in a good horror movie like that, you either want characters to hate so they can be eaten, or you want characters you love so that they can be eaten too, and then you can feel some sort of emotional response. But they don't do shit. The only thing that's good about it is it's got Ruby Rose in it, and that is everything to me.
Spoil this for me.
Outside of that, character-wise, like the characters are just dull, one-note stereotypes, including like traditional black guy stereotype.
Does he
Like,
die
I
first?
want to be on this boat, like that kind of bullshit. I had to stop and roll my eyes at that shit. Like, really? You couldn't?
Did he stop?
leave
Did he
that
die
one out?
first? Was he the first one to go?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not giving spoilers. I'm just saying,
So
like,
it's a yes.
Can you spoil to me whether or not the little fucking small shit dog dies or no?
the dog does not die. No, they make you think it dies, and then one of the last things you see is the dog still
Fuck,
swimming.
I'm not watching the movie now. The dog
I asked for it.
it.
You asked.
That
But
fucking
it was
overgrown
good, man.
hairy.
In terms of, it was a lot of fun. It just wasn't quality in any other way. Whereas there's a movie that is different but still deals with something slightly similar, and it's called Deep Rising. It's a 90s movie, and it does everything that this movie does right, but then on top of that, it has good characters in it. So if you end up liking the Meg, I encourage you to seek out Deep Rising and watch it, because that shit's a lot of fun.
Sounds
There's
good.
something rising in my deep, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. It's just
All right.
because you're talking to me that way.
So that was the movies. So next, we have some games coming out this week, all. First, Guacamelee 2 coming to PS4
Hell yeah.
August 21st. Fantastic game if you haven't played it. We have Shenmue 1 and 2 coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC August 21st. We have Gone Home coming to Switch on the 23rd. We have F1 2018 coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC August 24th. And finally, we have Little Dragon's Cafe coming to PS4 and Switch on August 24th.
Oh hell yeah!
Now, I thought that was
Can't wait for that one.
I thought it was an anime game. I googled it. It is an anime game, but not the type of one I was expecting. I
Yeah.
thought it was like polymorphic dragon girls in a cafe, and I was actually considering picking it up. But now I'm a little on the flip side. I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up or not. But if they gave me like dragon
what kind
girls,
of game is it?
I don't know. I just see dragons in a cafe.
I actually saw a video about it. It's basically this game where these two kids, their mother owns a cafe. She gets sick, and then
She
while
dies.
she's sick, they then have to they have to operate the cafe, and the
It's like
dragon portion comes in. You actually go out and get materials and stuff. You bring it back and you serve customers.
It's
and
like
then
a
you actually
sim?
do side quests. It's kind of like a sim, but also adventure game where the dragon comes in. The dragon helps you make specialty drinks, and you raise it, and it does kind of weird things. I saw a video. I think
Holy
Game
shit.
Informer did a video about it or whatever. It was kind of interesting.
It sounds extraordinarily stupid, but that could be one of those games that sounds stupid but then plays really good.
Yeah, it's just got like that Japanese charm where it's like, what the fuck is going on? But I like it because it's adorable, kind of thing. I might pick it up. I need more things to play on my Switch because at work
they had a JRPG that was all about running a bar, but you had to go on like Final Fantasy style, like Dragon Warrior style quests for the ingredients.
Wasn't it called like Bar's Tale or something instead of Bard's Tale?
Yes,
Bar's Tale.
Yes, I think you're close. It was released on phones, surprisingly enough, and then they brought it into computers as well. And it's real simple, old school 16-bit style graphics, but like it plays just like and feels exactly like a normal old school JRPG, but everything you're doing is doing quests for ingredients.
I gotta find it now, dude. I saw it on Steam. It was called Bar something, but it's like an old school JRPG, but you
very
run a bar.
Old school, yeah. Turn-based combat, like it's very basic, but it was just really kind of fun because you're actually not trying to save the world. You're just trying to keep the bar running.
Nice.
Blue Reflection, Valkyria Chronicles. This isn't helping me whatsoever. Bar, game, Steam.
Try cell phone, because it may have been on cell phones as well. It's a bar RPG.
I got Valhalla. Hey, that game's fucking lit, dude.
Give me a second, I'll find it.
All right, you find it. I'm gonna move forward. So that's that. Those are the games to look for over the next week we got coming out. Definitely some exciting stuff. Next, we have some news articles, fellas. We're going to try and go through these a little bit quicker than normal because we still have to talk about Quakecon. It's already 2 hours in. So, the first thing we have is it is a game that will get cheaper if enough people Steam wishlist it. This is interesting, an interesting way of going about this game. So it says save money by pressing a button. This is Chris Reed of GameSpot. We have most of the time when we want a game to be cheaper, there's nothing we can do about it. With Bard's Tale 4, Barrows Deep, you actually can do something. Developer Inzile is tallying up how many people put the incoming game on their GOG or Steam wish lists. If enough people wishlist the game, the price will come down. It's part of the company's wish list.
Adventure Bar Story is what you're thinking of, but that's not the only one. There's more than that.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's like 3 games. One of them is a cooking game too. But nice. Yeah, Adventure Bar Story is the one that's selling right now. There was a prequel to it that was just called Bar Story, or not prequel, but the old school flip phone version.
Yeah. All right.
That's the one. That was good.
If enough people wishlist the game, the price will come down. It's part of the company's wishlist initiative, which is calling an evolution in the relationship between the indie developer and its fan base. At certain wishlist milestones, Inzile is promising to add rewards to the game, kind of like Kickstarter rewards, except players don't have to pledge any money. They only have to click a button. Here's how the rewards break down according to total wishlist placements. At 100,000 wishlists, the developers will add the Darkest Dungeon Torch to the game. With 300,000 wishlist spots, the game's retail price will drop from $39.95 to $34.95. If No, it's called Bard's Tale. If 500,000 people add Bard's...
The new one?
Yeah. If 500...
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That game's going to kick ass. Okay. Sorry.
If 500,000 people add Bard's Tale to their...
Bard's Tale is funny shit, man.
We done?
Poor Kyle.
If
Bard's Tale shut the fuck up! Come on, Kyle, you can do it. This is your fucking podcast.
If 500,000 people add Bard's Tale 4 to their wish list, Inzile will bring the price down to $29.95 and add a free DLC expansion called the Harnhold, which finds characters adventuring in the dwarven realm of Canestria. Bard's Tale 4 is scheduled to launch September 18th. It's the sequel to a trilogy of first-person dungeon crawlers from the 80s and is a product of a successful Kickstarter campaign that raised over $1.5 million. If you may be interested in this title, there's no reason not to add it to your GOG or Steam wish list. You'll help bring the price down and make it more likely to receive free DLC. It's definitely a cool way of figuring out, or I don't know. It's definitely interesting because even if someone wish lists the game, that doesn't necessarily mean they'll buy it. So the devs are taking a huge kind of, they can easily kind of, the game's already made and it was kickstarted. So a lot of it's just pulling profit at this point. But they can easily lose out on a lot of money here if they go and make the game $10 cheaper and nowhere near 500,000 copies sell.
I'm sure if because Bard's Tale has never been, I mean, it's a good game and they get good voice actors for it, but if they budgeted themselves right, then they're already set to make a profit, off of the minimum price.
Yeah. Again, it was crowdfunded, so it's definitely an interesting thing though. It's the first time I've seen it, and it could garner a lot of attention towards the game. So I'm actually going to wishlist it right now. Bard's Tale.
Yeah, I gotta go on Steam and do the same.
Borrows Deep.
I don't even use a computer.
Add to your wish list. There we go, boys. It's added. All right. Hopefully no music plays off of Steam. God damn it. All right. So that was that. Pretty interesting thing. If you do have Steam, get your ass on there. Search up Bard's Tale 4 and wish list that bitch. You can also do it on GOG if you have a GOG account. I wonder if you can do both and they'll count it. I might try that. I have a GOG account. All right, let's move on to the next one.
What would you consider the difference between GOG and Steam primarily?
Just the library. I mean, they both do the same thing. They're game clients. There's a game on it that you can play. And GOG mostly has older games, though. Although they do have some newer titles, but mostly their boast to their library is the fact that they're older titles. Like if you want a game from like the 90s or early 2000s or something, you'll go on GOG to find it.
Yeah. There's actually a documentary that Danny O'Dwyer from NoClip did.
Mm-hmm.
It's in YouTube. It's really, really good. It's really cool, interesting how they bought licenses and stuff, and how they set up this thing where people could buy old games and play them. So probably you should check
These are games that aren't public domain then, is that what you're saying?
No, they had to buy licenses.
They had to buy licenses for these games that were just dormant for a while, but I haven't finished watching it, but it's interesting so far. So if anyone's interested, you should go check it out.
You definitely did.
What's it called?
The channel's called NoClip.
If you don't follow NoClip, you should. They release really good documentaries on YouTube.
I know where they got their name from.
Yeah, I definitely would check it out though. They do very interesting stuff. Especially if you're more interested in like the development cycle of games and learning more about that, they do awesome documentaries on that stuff. So that's that. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit earlier about Activision's fuck up with the Spyro Remastered trilogy, but we have some good news. It's coming from Eddie Macick of GameSpot. Good. Spyro Remastered trilogy has been delayed for PS4 and Xbox One. The Spyro Reignited trilogy will not make its release date. Activision announced today that the trilogy package will now arrive November 13th, which is 2 months later than its previously announced September 21st launch. In the statement, developer Toys for Bob said the game needed more love and care, so a delay was necessary. Everyone here, blah, blah, blah. So the game's been delayed, but also, on top of this, the game, when it launches, the devs have convinced Activision to relaunch the game without fucking up the fact that you have to download the next two. So the disc will contain all 3 copies of the game, or all 3 Spyros that are being remastered. So definitely a huge thing for people that might have shittier internet, or running off of like a satellite connection for the internet, or live in a country where internet's not as well established as it is like in the States. Definitely helps if you want to play these games. You are as much easier now than it would have been before, because you don't have to download the next 2 games to the Spyro remaster. So it's super awesome. It was delayed a bit on top of that to polish the game a bit, but definitely worth the wait. Super excited to play these games again.
The camera from the originals.
Like, I saw a comparison video. This game looks fucking gorgeous. Like, it has completely been redone from the ground up. It is so fucking pretty. And it actually has me like really excited to play these games again. I wonder if it'll come to Switch. Have they said that?
Yeah, it'll definitely come to Switch, man.
Yeah, but I think Crash came out this year for Switch, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, it's not that hard to do it. I mean, the game is pretty. It looks like it might even be running in Unreal, but the Switch isn't that shitty.
Yeah, I actually just saw
I love it. Isn't that shitty?
Actually, I'm plugging my YouTube channels. Gaming Historian did a video about the history of Spyro, which is really interesting too. That's another one.
Did he include Medieval as a reference?
No, it was just about the history of Insomniac and how they developed and brought Spyro to games, but they didn't talk anything about Medieval.
Oof.
That's going to be the next thing that they make. Medieval was made using the Spyro engine, It was such a good fucking game, and that's going to be the next thing they do after this whole Spyro thing is done. So hopefully
they've
by
already
next
announced
year.
Yeah, they've already announced.
Are they going to do both of them? The medieval 1 and 2?
They didn't say. I think just the. But they announced they're going to make a medieval remaster.
Nice. Hell yeah, that's going to be awesome. That game was fun as fuck.
All right, next article. The Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's limited edition comes with a GameCube controller. Like
what?
I don't know how many years. When did the GameCube come out? Whatever. It's been a shitload of years, and I don't know how, but this controller is still being used for Smash today, and that is awesome. That it is definitely the ultimate way to play Smash. I felt like it was almost designed just for Smash, but the GameCube controller doesn't work for every game, but it was very well done for Smash. Mm-hmm. So. Yep. This is by Chris Reed of GameSpot. We got a whole lot of information in the latest Super Smash Bros. Ultimate focused Nintendo Direct presentation. Among the announcements was that the game launches on December 7th. It will be available in a bundle called the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Limited Edition. The version comes with the game itself, plus a Smash branded GameCube controller and a
I'm gonna buy that shit.
And a USB adapter that lets players connect up to 4 GameCube controllers to their Switch. So far, this bundle has only been announced for Europe, though it probably will come to the US as well. You can pre-order.
Oh, it's going to come to the US.
Yeah, it can be pre-ordered now. It's £90. The GameCube controller has been the preferred input for pro level and diehard Smash Bros. Players ever since Smash Bros. Melee came out for the GameCube in 2001. So it's been 17 years. Each main Nintendo console since then has supported the controller, as have all non-handheld installments of the Smash Bros. Series. Limited edition of the game comes in a big, wide-adorned box with images of all the fighters that were announced. Nintendo will also sell standalone Smash-themed GameCube controllers. You can pre-order one now on Amazon for $30 each. If you're not planning to get the limited edition, make sure you also pre-order an adapter. This is pretty cool, though, because I mean, you can use the GameCube controller for other things, although the Pro controller probably serves other games better. But definitely an awesome thing that, like, Smash is all about. They've been very good at supporting their pro community as well as making the game a decent party game for people that aren't necessarily diehard players to play the game. Now, this game is going to be fucking awesome. It is literally, like, Ultimate is the best way to refer to this game because it has everything that's, like, ever existed in Smash, and it's just so fucking cool. I'm so pumped for this game. This will be the only reason I ever pay for the shitty-ass online Nintendo service that they're offering would be to play this game online with other people. But besides that, dude, another thing that sucks ass, I just thought about it, I'm going to have to buy a bunch of Pro controllers, aren't I? Fuck.
Yeah.
I did that for the Wii to do Smash 4, and I have all these Wii U Pro controllers now. Oh, I just saw they have a video playing. The Rathalos is an assist trophy, dude, for Monster Hunter Worlds.
Yeah. Oh, if you want to sell some of your Wii U Pro controllers, I might get at least one of them off.
Hell yeah, dude. They all work.
I got a Legend of Zelda one that I used. Now I'm like, I can't use it now, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, it sucks. It really fucked us over at the Wii U.
Keep it as memorabilia, man.
Nah, fuck.
I'm gonna keep it, but it just sucks that I can't use it.
Yeah. All right. Next article. Halo Infinite is Halo 6, Microsoft says. Halo Infinite is a direct sequel to Halo 5, even if it's not called Halo 6. Eddie Mackett of GameSpot. Microsoft has been saying for years now that it wants to get away from numbered Halo games, but some fans were still scratching their heads when the new game was revealed that Halo 3 as Halo Infinite and not Halo 6. Now 343's Jeff Easterling has spoken up to stress that Halo Infinite is Halo 6, even if it's not specifically called that. Quote, it is Halo 6. Easterling said during a recent Mixer broadcast. Quote, you should just consider it as Halo 6. Don't think of it as a weird prequel kind of thing. It's the next story. It's the next chapter of what's going on. I hope this game's on PC, dude. I will scream if this game comes to PC, because I haven't played Halo in a long time, like a definitive Halo game in a long time, and I'm not buying a fucking Xbox to play Halo 6. But if it comes to PC, I'll definitely pick it up. What am I trying to read here? Studio head Chris Lee already confirmed that Halo Infinite is a direct sequel. It has also been confirmed that the new game will focus more on Master Chief, which is notable because Halo 5 split between Chief and Agent Locke. It's good to hear that 343 start to talk about what Halo Infinite is, but we still have so much more we want to know. While that E3 trailer was impressive, it was because it was for the new game engine Slipspace and not the game itself. Microsoft has not yet shown any gameplay. There are also rumors that the game will release in at least 2 parts, the single player arriving at the end of 2019, followed by the multiplayer in 2020. None of this is confirmed at this point, however. That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of that, everyone kind of knew that right off the bat. A lot of that was because, hey, we have a new Halo engine. But again, love to see gameplay for Halo 6. As much as people complained about the story for Halo 4 and Halo 5 that 343 has introduced to the franchise, a lot of people liked Halo 5 for its competitive aspect of the game. The multiplayer felt incredibly well. They actually took pros from the other Halo games and had them come together to help develop the multiplayer for Halo 5. So hopefully they keep to that likeness, keeping the community involved with the development of the game, even pre to post. So the updates that do come to the game keep the community in mind when it comes to the multiplayer. Because I love Halo's multiplayer. It has some good feeling multiplayer. And then, again, hopefully we get a PC port. Never know. So, that's all we have for the news. We've made it, boys. We're at the main topic.
Aww.
We'll give this some time. Quakecon it didn't just happen. It happened last week, but we missed last week. But we are back to talk about Quakecon. Some cool shit. So, a couple things happen. I'm going to go over the smaller things first, then we'll spend time on some of the bigger things. Quake Champions will be permanently free to play. id Software and Bethesda announced that the Arena Shooter will be permanently free to play. Quake Champions was announced in 2016, has been free to play early access through 2017. There are starter pack and champion pack options for the game, but it's basically Quake. It just has kind of an Overwatch tinge to it because there's heroes that you can pick, but the gameplay itself is very mobility based. It's very precision based. It is Quake at its core, so that's pretty cool. Another
They
small.
didn't bring back the campaign.
As far as I know, it is entirely multiplayer.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. Another thing that happened is Elder Scrolls Online's next expansion is coming. It says it focuses on hunting werewolves and the Daedric Prince Herkine, and following the expansion Murkmire, players will take place in the swampy homeland. Sorry, it's her theme.
If I remember correctly,
We'll take
my
Nice, thank you, I appreciate it. The following expansion Murkmire will take players to the swampy homeland of the Argonians, the Black Marsh. Wolf Hunter has a release date of August 13th for PC and August 28th for consoles. Murkmire, the following expansion, has yet to be announced. So they're still supporting that game. If you do play ESO, you got something to look forward to. That was one of the small things. Another small thing is they showed off a little bit more of Rage 2. They're bringing back some of the original, some of the things that apparently made the first one good, which was the vehicles.
And the shitty controls for the vehicles, they bring that back?
Oh, I hope not. But from what I've seen from the gameplay of this game, I'm not going to lie, I like the world that they have here, and I like the set pieces. Like, they have one where you literally bring a gigantic silo out of the ground, and it's fucking ginormous, and that's your level. You have to scale up it, killing dudes, and going up to get to the top to activate it. It's just the scale of the game is incredible. It's really cool. And the game's pretty, too. It's just, I don't know, like, what am I doing here? All I've seen this person do is walk around and kill people. Like, I don't know, what's the story? Are there quests? Do you get gear? What the fuck's going on? It looks like an open world, like Doom, but without demons. But, like, is that something I want? Like, I don't know if I'd enjoy a game like that. So I had to see more for it. But the biggest things that we got was Fallout 76 and Doom Eternal. We'll talk about Doom first. There's another Doom game coming out. It's set on Earth with shit going crazy. Demons or hell is literally on Earth, like they were saying, and there's been a lot of updates to the gameplay. Now, I think for the most part, it's in the same engine. It looks entirely in the same engine. There's not been too many updates graphically. It just looks like we've been dropped into a new world using the same thing. There have been some upgrades to the weapons to make the gameplay feel a little bit different. But what do we think about Doom, the old one and the new one that we've seen? Are we excited?
I played all of them, but the most recent one, I only got to play that a little bit. But I've liked every incarnation of Doom except for the Xbox exclusive one, and even that was still decent. It was just boring after a while. Like the first level or two was fun when they tried to incorporate some of the more survival horror not survival horror, but the horror movie kind of feel, the more cinematic
Oh,
feel.
Doom 3?
Which I think was it called Doom? No.
Yeah,
was it called Doom 3?
Yeah, it was called Doom 3.
Yeah, Doom 3, which is actually a reboot.
I thought that one was shit.
And that game, like I said, first few levels were actually decent because they try to go with a more cinematic kind of thing, which is nice. But then the whole action-packed part never really happened.
Yeah, it was it was pretty much a survival horror game, and that's not Doom.
It was a shitty balance.
Yeah.
Like if they could probably do the cinematic feel and still give you the constant action, and they just didn't do that. And the new one is another reboot. But what confuses me is it made to replace? Are we basically replacing Doom and Doom 2 with Doom and Doom Eternal? And if so, did the original reboot, did it follow Doom at all? Did it follow the basic plot line? That's something I didn't play enough to see.
All I know is in the reboot of Doom, you wake up, you were like fished out of hell. So I think it is continuing the story, because in one of the games, don't like rocks fall on Doom guy and he gets trapped in hell? And one of the
There's
Dooms,
no
I think
cinematics that I recall.
Yeah, but I think according to the story, after the final boss fight of the original Doom 2, I think, or one of the Dooms, you get trapped in hell. Something happens, you're trapped in hell. When the reboot of Doom starts up, you are fished. You wake up, but you come out of a hell-ish looking coffin thing, and you were fished out of hell. They found you in hell.
I remember that.
So I don't think it is a complete retelling of the story. I think it's continuing from one of the Dooms. I think it might be Doom 2. It's continuing from Doom 2 and pushing the story forward, kind of thinking of Doom 3 as a kind of side story kind of thing, and then pushing forward with Doom guy being fished back up out of hell, and then now, demons are loose again because humanity is greedy. So
I think they decanonized Doom 3 completely.
Yeah, I pretty much just see it as this kind of happened on another thing. It happened somewhere else. I don't think about it. But yeah, I think it is continuing. I don't think it's completely retelling the story. I think it's pushing it forward. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I hope so. I'll find out pretty soon.
I'm okay with that. Doom never had the deepest of stories.
No, and it still doesn't. To be honest, it's very linear. A lot of it is the gameplay. I mean, it's nice. It looks pretty. Dude, if you like Doom, you really got to play the reboot. You could probably get it for very cheap. And the single-player game, the music, the way it feels, even on controller, the game, it just feels fucking awesome. It is such a cool game.
I heard the multiplayer, too, they made a lot for free.
Yeah, I think pretty much all of the Doom multiplayer is free. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no microtransactions.
Though. They made it after the fact.
Yeah.
Which kind of prompted me to get it even more.
No, it's good, dude. And again, some of the best video game music out there. It is so good for Doom. You're just it
can be Wolfenstein.
You feel the essence of badassery entering you through the game in your butthole. That's where you feel it.
Doom always had good music.
Yeah, no, it did. I'm not saying it doesn't, but this stuff is a high tier awesomeness, especially if you like.
No, I'm just saying it makes sense for Doom to have I heard it and it was very worthy of the name.
Yeah, I definitely recommend, if you guys out there, if you haven't played the Doom reboot, definitely get on that shit, especially if you like first person shooters. It plays super well. Now, it's awesome on both systems. I enjoyed it on PS4. I haven't played it on PC with the mouse, but I've heard it is a whole nother level of craziness, because a lot of it feels like Quake. That's like saying, I'm gonna go play Quake on my PS4. You kind of wouldn't get the same feeling as you would with a mouse and keyboard on PC, because the game is built around precision and mobility. So it's just, I guess if you've played Doom on PC before and went to console, it'd feel kind of weird. But if you played on console, it's a good fucking game, dude. It's awesome. I love it so much. So one thing I watched the showcase that they showed at Quakecon, and it seems like a lot of what they're focusing on is they're increasing the mobility some more. They're furthering mobility as they continue. It seems like now they've always had the double jump, but now it seems like you have a little bit of a short movement dash that you can move quickly in a distance to kind of move around quicker. We've seen, if you've watched it, you've seen they've added like a grappling hook to the shotgun, which adds more of a verticality aspect to it. And it seems like a lot of the levels now are larger. Like, although the levels in the original Doom reboot were pretty large. Like, you can go around, there's stuff to do, but a lot of it you're pushing forward for the most part, ripping through demons in the process. But I think so, like, with this new gameplay, it kind of feels like you're going to be looking up and down, kind of moving around that way. And the arenas where you're getting into these combat struggles seem like they are larger. So you have to be more attentive to like, oh, we got a dude pelting me with little brain bullets or whatever the fuck from like that corner. I got to worry about him. I got to worry about this. So there's more of a focus of thinking like your placement as you move through the level. Like, where can I situate myself where I could go around doing this where I don't get ripped apart by ranged enemies and I could still get up close and personal with some of the bigger, tankier demons and stuff like that. At least from what I saw from the gameplay reveal. Game looks like it feels just as smooth. I like the idea that now we're on Earth and now it's hell on Earth, and it just looks fucking awesome. It looks really good. Did anyone else have anything to add?
They brought back the Archvile. He's finally returned.
Fuck yeah, dude. I love seeing all like the new updated versions of the demons from the older games, and the new artist representation of these demons is super cool to see them. They're pretty fucking dope, dude. I love this game, and I'm super excited for Doom Eternal.
I mean, again, I just can't wait to play Doom. Like I said, I'll be playing it probably shortly, within like a week or so. I've been like holding off. Like, it's just festering right now in my mind. Like I said, I have to finish Wolfenstein because I'm pretty sure Doom is just going to be the exact replicant of just more badassery. Instead of Nazis, you're fighting demons. Like, yeah. I'm fucking stoked.
Yeah, they're one and the same. Nazis, demons, what's the difference?
Right, exactly.
So another cool thing with Doom Eternal is it is coming to the Switch like the original Doom was, so that's super fucking cool. So you could give your little son that's 3-year-old that's played Mario, hey son, play a real man's game, play Doom. And that's awesome though, being able to take Doom on the go. Now the thing is, I've said it before, but I think the Joy-Cons that come on the Switch are fucking atrocious for like first-person shooters. Adventure games, I think they're good. Like Zelda, they were fine, they worked. Mario, they were fine, they worked because you don't need that precision. But for something like Doom, I feel like this, you might as well be playing it on a fucking mobile phone at this point because the Joy-Cons are that doo-doo. So definitely if you're going to play Doom on your Switch, bring a pro controller wherever you take your Switch or something. Just don't use the Joy-Cons, man. The Joy-Cons are they're not built for FPS games. Not whatsoever. They suck ass. So yeah, it's definitely awesome. I'm thinking, what else we got here? I have an article here. Apparently you could also control a demon, which you could do in the multiplayer of the original Doom. Oh, okay. I'm going to read this. Oh, yeah, the reboot. You could live your demon dreams by taking control of one of these otherworldly beings that wreak havoc in another player's campaign. It's similar to the Phantom mechanic in the Dark Souls games, except this time you're working against the other player. You could join up with...
I got that from Resident Evil.
Yeah, you could join up with other demons to hunt down a slayer and delight in whatever else it is these hellish creatures do in their free time. That's super fucking cool. It also reminds me, there's a lot of games that have that kind of like rivalry system. I know I recently played through Dying Light, and they have a system like that where people can take control of zombies at night and hunt you down and try and kill you. But definitely seems like they're going the right way here with Doom. For the most part, it seems like the same gameplay. They're just amping it up, adding new elements to it. So it will feel like the same Doom, but we'll have a lot more toys to play with to give us a fresh enough of an experience that won't be completely evolving what they built in the 2016 Doom. So I can't believe it's already been 2 years since that came out. That's crazy. Definitely awesome. Super excited for Doom Eternal. And that, did they have a release date for Doom Eternal?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I didn't see one.
It looks finished though.
Yeah, they had one for Rage. Rage 2 will be coming out spring of 2019.
Is that going to be an Xbox exclusive like it was before?
Rage? No. It's PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One.
Oh, bummer. I really don't. Is it bad that I just want to see Rage go away? That first game was so boring.
I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, I actually enjoyed Rage, the first one. It wasn't my favorite game, but I did enjoy it for what I had. This one, they're definitely going in a different direction. They're trying to make it more exciting. So I'm going to probably pass on it when it first comes out. I might get it later on, but it just didn't really pull me in. I mean, it looks fun, but it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem my type of game right now.
Of all the IPs to resurrect that need resurrecting, why that one? What suit decided that was a good idea when there were so many other things they could bring back?
I don't know. Maybe it's like a kind of thing. It's like, oh, let's see. Just because people have a lot of faith in Bethesda right now. It's like, oh, let's see if we can do something with this. I don't know. I have no clue, to be honest. Hey, but they did it.
It's a weird decision.
Yeah.
But then again, they made a fucking Shaq Fu game again.
Yeah. I think someone's just memeing. TBH.
No, that's an actual thing. It's you can buy it.
Yeah, no, but a developer can meme. Are developers not allowed to meme, Shawn? All right.
Me and my damned lack of inclusivity.
I know, right? Come on. All right. So finally, we have Fallout 76 details. We have a few things for Fallout 76. They showed off the progression program, or the progression system in Fallout 76, and they've also detailed the way they will be dealing with griefers in the game. A lot of issue people have with survival games like this, like Rust and Ark and Conan Exiles and things like that, is the griefing problem. How are they going to deal with the griefing? So they showed off what they would be, how they would move with griefers dealing forward, and systems in play to prevent griefing. So we're going to go over that. First, we'll go over the progression system. As you level, you get cards. And what happens is you still have the special system that you do in the other Fallout games. So strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. So all those 7 traits, is it 7? Whatever. Those traits, they level as you go, and you can put points into them. And what happens is every couple levels you get a card. You'll get a perk card. Now, every few levels, you'll also get a perk card pack, almost like a booster pack, like for like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon or something. Now, with these card packs, you can open them up, and each pack is a perk. So you can have a perk that you do increased melee damage. You can have a perk that you can jump higher, or you take less fall damage, or something along those lines. Now these perks are all have a special stat attributed to them. So say like if you want to do more melee damage or be tankier, that might be a stat or set to the strength perk. Now as you put these perk cards in, they all have a cost that drains from your total available energy pool for that specific stat. So say if you have 7 points in strength and you have a perk card that costs 3 points, it will pull 3 points from those 7 and you'll be able to have the perk equipped. Now you also have an inventory for all cards, so if you don't use a specific card, you'll still be able to switch cards out later, which is quite interesting. So you can run builds basically. So say if you want to do a melee.
So your perk value wouldn't be able to exceed 7. For instance, if your strength was 7.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So say if you get a new card, if you already have a perk card that's like 4 and you only have 7 points in strength, but you get another card that's 5, you'd have to unequip the 4 card to equip the 5 card. You can't exceed 7. Now, I don't know how high that number goes. I'm not entirely sure, but it works along those lines like that. Also, again, as you level, you can only put so many points. They say, I think it was after level 50 they were talking about, that when you continue with leveling, you no longer receive points to put in your special. So after a certain level, you can keep playing to get more perk cards, but you won't become like a god among men, among your fellow peons that you could murk mercilessly just because you've played the game longer than someone else. So you can't get to like unbelievable levels of strength just to destroy people. So that's kind of how the perk system works. There's still loot in the game. You can still make money and get items and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if items will have like a level limiter. So as you play, you might get a gun that's for level 10 that you can't use until you get to that level, or you might need a certain strength stat. I don't really know exactly with that. They only showed off really the cards. So that's an interesting way of going through. Now, the first thing people complain about is, microtransactions. Like you have these you have these perk packs, maybe you can buy them, but they've straight up said there's no way to buy these perk cards. The only way you receive them is by leveling. There are no microtransactions in the game besides cosmetic ones. That's the only ones that they've said that are in the game. So that's interesting. Hopefully they stick to their word there. Someone can say something and then a year down the line, oh, hey, now you can buy perk card packs and shit like that. Hopefully they stay away from that, because that would definitely make the game very pay to win, and we don't want that in a game you pay $60 for. So besides that, they also talked about how they're going to be dealing with griefers and the PvP in the game. I actually have an article for this. I didn't have an article for the card thing. It's just something from watching the video. So Fallout 76 deals with griefers in a brutal way. More PvP details have been revealed. This is by Timur Hussein of GameSpot. Bethesda has discussed how Fallout 76 will deal with griefers, namely players that are intent on attacking and killing others. In Quakecon, they talked about it. Bethesda decided to turn griefers into content for other players by giving them a taste of their own medicine. Quote, "We want this element of danger without griefing," said Howard, who continued on to explain that when you shoot someone, you do a little bit of damage. So if you shoot someone that is just walking around the world, you'll do a small amount of damage to them. Now, he equated this action to lightly slapping someone in a bar to see if they want to fight. The other player can choose to ignore this damage or engage. And if they do decide to engage, both guns will be put on full damage, and you can actually proceed to try and kill each other. Those that do not want to engage in the PvP, you just don't retaliate. You probably have to run away. Now, if you are killed by someone that you did not engage with, and they do eventually manage to tick you down enough to kill you, the player who did kill you will be labeled as a wanted murderer. They will receive no rewards from their kill, whether it's caps or experience, and the player will also appear on the map as a red star and have a bounty placed on their head. The money from that bounty is removed from the murderer's pool. So say if you go and kill someone in a town, and it's a murder, it's not an actual fight, it's a murder, you'll get, say, a 10,000 cap bounty on your head. And they will pull all of that bounty from you when you die. So, again, an interesting way of implementing this. One thing that is brought up, what if that person that attacks is poor? But I guess another way of thinking is maybe that they could sell items that will equate to that cap value. I think that'd be an interesting way of doing that. So say if you have
They'll just take all their money.
Yeah, but I'm thinking then someone can just put all their caps somewhere and go on a killing spree with gear. Kind of get what I'm saying? So maybe if they go and say if you go out, you put all your caps somewhere and you get killed with your bounty, maybe they sell all of your gear to equate to that bounty. That'd be an interesting way of equalizing that, so people can't just hide their caps somewhere and go on a murdering spree.
Yeah, but even there, murdering spree sounds like it's kind of difficult.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like this, it sounds like they're creating a persistent world-ish, but one that is really not, because you're not supposed to kill each other unless it's agreed.
Yeah,
which is not what I was expecting. I think that is different. That's a different way of going about it.
It definitely feels like they want people more to just cooperate with each other and play cooperatively than just everyone at like Wild Wild West, everyone fucking annihilating each other kind of thing.
They could create zones for that, though, if you just want to go in and whoop ass.
Yeah, one thing that's cool about Conan Exiles that I've played is they have a server type called PvE Conflict. And what it will be is it's kind of like the Purge, where for the most part, there's only PvP. But at certain times of the day, a horn will blow. And that's like the Purge has been initiated. And at that point, damage to structures is allowed, killing other players is allowed, and everyone's allowed to just kind of go murk each other for about an hour. And then for the rest of the time, it goes back to PvE. And then no one's allowed to kill each other at that point, which is an interesting way of doing it as well. That's a server that I play on. I think it's pretty cool that like you could just be kind of hanging out, and then the horn blares, and then you just see everyone fled from their houses and go out murdering each other and shit. But continuing with the article, that's taken out of the murderer's pool. Also, other players looking to cash in on that bounty aren't visible to the murderer on the map. So everyone knows where the murderer is, but someone approaching you to murder you or to kill you, you can't see them. So it really deters you from trying to grief another player. Players that are a high level offer better rewards if engaged and killed. If you decide to do some PvP and are killed, you have the option to seek revenge. Doing so gives players the opportunity to get double the rewards if they're successful in the second attempt. PvP doesn't activate until level 5, so new players cannot get destroyed when they start. And there are options to block and ignore people. Additionally, you can choose to completely turn off the called slap mechanic, and when you die, the only consequence is that you drop the junk you're collecting, which is used to build. So all like the metal and all that other stuff. Armor and weaponry isn't lost on death, so the only decision you have to make after dying is whether you want to go back and collect your resources. However, there are stashes around the world and at your camp that can be used to store junk and keep it safe, so smarter players will no doubt be seeking these out and using them frequently to store precious materials. Fallout 76's release date has been confirmed as November 14th. A beta for the game will be held before its release, Bethesda stated that Fallout 76's beta will be available to Xbox One owners first, followed by other platforms. For both the beta and the full game, Bethesda will distribute directly to consumers instead of using Valve's Steam platform. So, for the beta, if you want to get into the beta, you can't even buy this game on Steam right now. It will not be coming to Steam on launch. You have to get it through Bethesda's game client if you are on PC. And they say they do it that way so they can directly support the game instead of having to, because like with all patches, every patch has to be checked, right? So you're not releasing a virus to the world for people to download onto their systems. PlayStation does it, Microsoft does it, and sometimes, depending on this process for the patch, it can take patches longer to get out to different systems. So what they're saying is for the PC version, kind of like how Warframe does it, since you deal directly with Warframe's client, or Bethesda's client in this case, they are able to quickly get patches straight to you. They don't have to go through these patch processes in order to get the updates out to the community. So that's one of the reasons why they're staying away from Steam in this case. Will the game eventually come to Steam? It's possible. But as of right now, it seems like you have to go directly through Bethesda's client. Is that awful? Not really. A lot of people like to keep all their games in one place so they don't have to go through 100 programs to get to all their shit. But I understand the reasoning behind this. It's just the launcher, basically. So with these new changes, what do we think, guys? Are we more excited, less excited for Fallout? Are we still worried about the game? What do we think?
It sounds better.
It definitely seems.
Yeah.
It definitely.
Like they're...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. After you go.
Okay. Well, it definitely seems like they're straying away from the thing that turns people off from these survival games. And it seems more of like a shared world, like a shared shooter experience, kind of like Destiny or something. But there's a little bit of elements of like, if you truly do want to go raiding and griefing and stuff like that, we're going to make it hard for you. Now, for people that like that element, that PvP element to the game, is that going to suck? Yes, it is. You won't be able to do that. But at that point, then they can go and play something else like Rust.
Play Ark.
Yeah, or Ark, where those are freely allowed without much punishment at all.
Any punishment.
So, I am a little...
Ark is the universe of hate.
I am more excited for the game. I love Fallout. I love the Fallout games. And I more care about wanting to play through the map than I do really care about playing with others. That's kind of just a bonus. But I like the world to Fallout. I like the idea of this Fallout being shortly after the bombs dropped. So, and the map being gigantic, like they were saying, like 4 times bigger than the map of Fallout 4. I just like the idea of playing. I just want to walk through the world and go do things. I might play a good portion of this game by myself, depending on whatever's going on at that time when it releases. I have no idea, because sometimes we'll say, oh, let's all pick up a game and play it together, and then everyone has life, and then no one's able to play, at least amongst like the people on like PC and stuff, because I am going to be picking this on PC still. Now, if I do like...
I will say, with this news, I will buy it to play with everybody on PlayStation, but I don't have a computer. I was not going to get it, but with this news, with them changing that element, I will definitely. I'm game to go in on and get it.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it's more interesting. It looks like the engine itself has been updated a little bit. It looks a bit nicer. There's more to it, kind of. It just looks updated, which is good, because Fallout 4's engine was nice, but it had its moments. Another thing would be performance. Again, the map is larger. There's more going on. There's more players interacting. And Fallout 4's performance on launch was quite garbage. And it still is pretty garbage. The game drops frames in some of the city. So I'm hoping that they've kind of resolved that by the time the game launches, hopefully for console players, that you don't have disgusting frame drops. And especially in a game where you might be fighting with people or against a person, you don't want your frames dropping, especially below, because they drop to like 15 to 20, which is like 30. If it's solid 30, it's not noticeable. But the moment it starts dropping to 15, 20, you're playing a slideshow. That would suck if you're in the middle of combat. So hopefully they fix that issue. But it definitely has me more interested for the game as it comes out.
Well, how do you think they would work the story elements with it being something like that? Would everybody just have the same quests, kind of like Borderlands?
How like the dialogue go too? They have, 'cause that's like the big thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of the draw to Fallout is the story to them usually, more than, and the world that they revolve in. And it is interesting because they're still when they talk about the game, they're still saying this is a Fallout game. There will be quests, there will be things to do, but we've heard numerous times that there won't be NPCs. So I don't know exactly how. A lot of what they've shown off is just gameplay at this point. They haven't really delved into the narrative aspect to it, but that does still have me a bit worried. I don't know how they'll do it. They really haven't showed much of it off. Hopefully, as we get closer to November, because it's still a whiles away, we'll see more about it. As the beta starts to roll out, I want to definitely be watching people play the game and see what the beta kind of entails right now. See if we get an idea of what the narrative might be like. But we could take a guess, I'm thinking, because we know that our job is to reclaim the land around us. So maybe like the idea is like you're rebuilding America or something like that, right? Because you have to go out there, you're the reclaiming vault. You go out there and you're building, and that's the idea. Another thing I heard about the building, also on the aspect of preventing griefing, is that you can create blueprints for what you build. And as long as you have the materials, you can just shit out the building back onto the ground. So say something gets destroyed, right, and you worked a lot on it, as long as you have the materials to rebuild it, the total amount, you can just go somewhere else and poop out the building onto the land using the camp, that little like thing that they show that you keep with you to build your base. So again, they're putting a lot of focus on making the griefing experience as little as possible. And even to the point... What
about like vehicles or mounts? Most of these games that are like that have mounts or vehicles, and you have to put a ton of resources to get them.
They've never done a vehicle in Fallout, so I can't see them doing it now, just because it's still within the Fallout 4 engine, and I can't imagine how difficult that would be to code into an engine that already is existing, like actual moving vehicles. So I think for the most part, you'll be on foot. I can't imagine having a vehicle. One thing that I wonder... I don't know if they'll do it. They probably won't again because it's...
What about the armor?
The focus is... What do you mean, the armor? I mean...
Don't you have power armors in those that can fly and shit?
You can have power armor. I think they might just treat it as high-level loot. But, I don't know. They might have a power armor set that you can get that does give you, like, a jetpack of some sort. Because they did have stuff like that, yeah. So it might just be treated as high-level loot, though. I don't know if it will be the same how it is in the other games where you actually can put pieces on your power armor together and stuff like that. I don't know how they'll do power armor.
Okay.
Yeah, but definitely interesting. So if someone does decide...
I've heard a lot about it. So.
If someone does decide to nuke your home you just tirelessly spent building, as long as you have the resources, if you go out and farm some more stuff. I mean, the blueprint. If you go out and farm some more stuff, you can just poop your house down somewhere else, and it's home sweet home again. You're good to go. I also like, we said it before, but the way that they're dealing with the nuke, where it not only does it destroy the land, but it creates a high level area within the blast radius. So if you go back to the area that was nuked, you can actually go and farm loot from the area because you'll get high level enemies from the area because it's heavily radiated and stuff like that. So that's a pretty cool mechanic as well too. Now, one thing they said is that the damage that the nuke does, it stays. like the deforming that it does. So who's to say a server that's been up for a few months isn't everything nuked to shit and just nothing, everything looks garbage. And then at what point do you say, should we like reset the server? I don't know if they'll do server wipes. I have no idea what they intend to do with that. So definitely interesting stuff though. I am excited to try this game, play it out. We have a huge fall we're looking into. Definitely pumped. And this news has kind of removed a little bit of the worry that I have. Is it still possible that there could be a horrible late game because there's not much to do once you do get a bunch of gear? Yeah, that's still possible. There might be not much to keep you playing the game, but as long as it's not Sea of Thieves, I'm good to go, right? So, anything else to add to that? I know I did most of the talking, but I love fucking Fallout. You guys have anything else that you?
No, nothing really. I mean, I like the Fallout games, but I mean, I'm not crazy over them. I will probably end up getting this one though. I mean, just to see what all the hype's about. It does look interesting with the multiplayer aspect, so we'll see what happens when it comes out. I mean, I'm just looking forward to it. I kind of want to see some more gameplay on it too. I don't know.
Yeah, once they start doing the waves for the beta rollout, I'm gonna be on that shit. I'm gonna be watching to see.
That's the wildest.
See, because there'll be videos on it. They'll be all over YouTube. There's a lot of hype for this game currently, so we'll definitely see more of the beta gameplay once it gets going. So
yeah. So yep.
You got anything else, Shawn?
No, that's I'm not a Fallout fan. I don't like those open world games typically. But that one sounds interesting just because, well, originally it sounded interesting because all of us would be playing together again. Although that's sounding like that plan has been rapidly changing. It may still be something interesting, or there may still be enough people playing it on consoles to make it worth me getting into.
Yeah. All right. So that concludes episode 62. Yeah, episode 62 of the Thought Patrol podcast. We appreciate all you guys for tuning in, for hanging out with us the last 2.5 hours. Holy shit. It's been a blast. Sam has re-returned. I know he's having some issues. Do you have anything to add for Fallout 76, Sam, before we go?
Unfortunately, I can't be excited for it because of my limitations with my internet connection. So I'm going to just probably enjoy it from afar and just probably watch people play it and stuff. And then eventually when I do get into hopefully maybe down the road, I'll be able to play it. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy it from afar and just play Fallout 4 in the meantime. So.
All right.
But I'm still excited for it to see what the possibilities are.
Okay. So for all you tuning in, let us know what you think about these games. Either join our Discord, leave a comment below. Are you excited for Doom? Are you excited for Fall? Are you excited for Rage? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you all. Also, if you want to help us out, come stop by one of the Twitch streams. I'd love to hear from you guys. Sometimes I have multiple people in there. We've been playing a game called the Red Strings Club by Devolver Digital. It's a really cool cyberpunk game that we've all been enjoying. We've been voice acting, hanging out together. I have people on Discord. I'll have Shawn in there regularly. Sometimes Sam will drop by too. And we'll just all hang out on Twitch. It's definitely a blast. I'd love to have you guys come by, drop a follow, and help us out that way. It'd be we'd really appreciate it. So
also send nudes.
Yes.
Don't forget that.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good way of supporting the podcast. Let me beat my meat.
Yeah.
So before we go,
to their meat.
Let me hear some outros. Shawn, you first. Hit me with that shit.
Hugs and kisses and all your pink parts, baby.
Moo, baby.
Sam?
Yeah. Have fun and don't do anything stupid. And remember, it's always important to see the silver lining plus ultra.
Plus ultra, indeed. Now, I have a fact here, but I feel like I should explain it just because it's baffled me. I want to see if I could get the link to work, but I'm going to read it real quick. So before we go, I will leave you all with a thought, an extended thought for this week's episode.
Well, fuck me, I guess.
Wait, you said something? Oh, I thought you said something to add to... All right, well, say shit. Say your shit, dude.
I was wondering what was going to happen there.
I was like, I mean, it don't matter, but it's all right. All right, well, it was good talking to you lovely people again. Good being on. see you all again in the next, I don't know, 10 podcasts or so. So, the
next time you're free, Tyler, text me.
Yeah, dude. You guys need to play some Bloodborne.
Definitely hit you up. Yeah, man. But, I'll just... Hold on one second.
The fuck was that?
I am Gandalf, and Gandalf means me.
Thank you all. So, like that beautiful wizard, it comes and goes as he pleases. I will do the same.
Aww.
Have a good night.
Okay. So, before we go, I shall leave you all with a thought. Dr. Kellogg introduced Kellogg's cornflakes in hopes that it would reduce masturbation. Now, as this is an extended thought, I have an article explaining this. So this is on dailymail.co.uk by Madeline Davies. So what do cornflakes and masturbation have in common? Mr. Kellogg believes sexual desires cause disease and invented the plain cereal to stop self-pleasuring. For people the world over, a bowl of cornflakes is the go-to breakfast of choice. But for the majority of those who look forward to their morning bowl, it will come as a surprise that they were invented to stop people from masturbating. John Harvey Kellogg, who first created the cereal in the late 19th century, originally intended it to be a healthy, ready-to-eat, anti-masturbatory morning cereal, according to Mental Floss. Mr. Kellogg, a physician, was uncomfortable about sex, believing it was unhealthy for the body, mind, and soul. He didn't get pussy. He was celibate, having never consummated his marriage and keeping a separate bedroom from his wife. He also adopted his children rather than impregnating his partner. And while he was anti-sex, he considered masturbation even worse. Self-pollution is a crime doubly abominable, he wrote, according to Mental Floss journalists. So isn't that interesting?
I think I actually heard that before. That's not the only cereal he invented.
Jokes on you. It never.
Oh my god.
Most of Kellogg's old cereals were were like fucking snake oil for shit.
Yeah. That's fucking insane. Well,
that's crazy, man.
There you go. You guys learned something new tonight. Tell your friends, tell your family that you learned it at the Thought Patrol podcast. Kellogg's help you stop masturbating. All right, all. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I appreciate everyone here and everyone tuning in for participating in the last 3 hours of this beautiful podcast. I hope you all have a good night. We will see you all next week. Again, feel free to stop by one of the streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We'd love to see you there, and I hope you all have a fantastic week.